Chapter 4083. Although Di Tuatian didn't like Ling Xiao very much, Ling Xiao was a meritorious minister. Moreover, he was the future backbone of Fighting Soul Sacred City. Was it really good to give him to Bai Jianhai? But on second thought, no matter how strong Ling Xiao was, it was impossible for him to become one of his people. Since that was the case, it was better to do Bai Jianhai a favor. This way, he could clean up the disobedient disciples and also make Jiangnan more obedient. If you have the ability to take him away, then take him away. Di Tuatian's words were a bit ambiguous. He deliberately said this so as not to embarrass himself too much. He, a mere little disciple. I, Bai Jianhai, can't take him away? Bai Jianhai sneered, then looked at someone and said, Koi, this is the enemy you have been looking for. Now he is here. Go and capture him alive. Yes. From behind Bai Jianhai, a graceful woman walked out. The woman was dressed in red and looked very handsome. It caused many disciples of Fighting Soul Sacred City to drool. Ling Xiao, do you still remember me? Koi looked at Ling Xiao with a cold expression. Who are you? Ling Xiao asked in confusion. Bastard, did you forget me? In the immemorial divine tomb, I am the daughter of Myriad Country Dragon Mother, Koi King, the woman said angrily. Koi King? You actually came to the 4 major regions. I didn't expect that. Ling Xiao was a little surprised. Back in the immemorial divine tomb, Koi King had clearly been killed by him. In the entire Myriad Country, only Dragon Shark King was his brother. He didn't expect Koi King to still be alive. It seemed that she had some fortuitous encounter, and her cultivation had reached the perfect Earth core realm. She was very strong. You didn't expect it, right? Back then, you tormented our Myriad Country enough. Now, it's time for me to take revenge. Koi had a deep obsession with Ling Xiao. Because of an accident, her corpse was brought to Sword Soul Sacred City. But after a fortuitous encounter, not only was she resurrected, but her strength also increased greatly. Compared to before, it was simply a world of difference. Ling Xiao could sense the aura of another person from the Koi's body. He must have obtained another person's inner core and martial soul. That was why his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. He had done this before, using this method to help his own people. Therefore, he understood the Koi's situation the best. This woman could be considered extremely lucky. If he continued to develop like this, the future might be quite good. But why did this idiot want to provoke him? Ling Xiao sighed and said, the past is the past. Since you were lucky enough to survive, you should thank the heavens for giving you a chance to live. Instead of chasing after him and demanding revenge, your brother, the Dragon Shark King, is now my brother. Can you not do it? Are you afraid? The Koi King coldly snorted and arrogantly said. Hearing this, Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh. Why did he encounter such an idiot? All right, since you want to die, let's do it. Ling Xiao was too lazy to continue talking nonsense. Ling Xiao, be more respectful to the Koi. That's right, such a beautiful woman. You shouldn't have such an attitude. It seemed like there were some fans of the Koi in Fighting Soul Saint City. Hearing Ling Xiao being disrespectful to the Koi, they immediately shouted, not feeling ashamed at all. Junior brother Ling, this Koi is not easy to deal with. She hasn't been in Sword Soul Saint City for long, but she has improved rapidly and is known as the second genius of Sword Soul Saint City. She is second only to her senior sister, Lung Chuyen. Lung Chuyen? Why did he hear this familiar name again? If he hadn't seen the Koi, Ling Xiao probably wouldn't have connected Lung Chuyen with the old Lung Chuyen. Lung Chuyen had once controlled Dark Frost, the true controller of Soul Palace. This woman was only left with a soul. During the battle, no one knew if she had died or not. She was here, and she was staying in Sword Soul Saint City with the Koi King. Judging from this, Lung Chuyen was even scarier than the Koi King. Could she be a heavenly core warrior? But if that was the case, this Lung Chuyen must have possessed the body of a super strong warrior. Ling Xiao, did you hear that? Senior sister Lung Choyen and I are the children of legends of the 3,000 Saint City. How dare you look down on me? The Koi king stared at Ling Shao coldly, showing a disdainful expression. I don't care if you are the children of legends. You're not disciples of Golden City. Why are you so arrogant? Ling Shao said with disdain. The Koi king wasn't angry, he said with a smile. Although I am not a disciple of Golden City yet, I will be soon. Of course. Senior Sister Chuyen is scarier than me. This time, our Sword Soul Saint City's mission is to face the bloodthirsty sect, who are on par with the Great River Bandits. They have done some shady things in the Western Kingdom. Senior Sister Chuyen alone killed 10 great warriors of the bloodthirsty sect. Did you know? 9 of the 10 great warriors were at the perfect Earth Core Realm. One of them was at the Heavenly Core Realm. The Koi King was still showing off. Ling Shao found it funny. What have I done? If I tell you, you will be scared to death. Are 10 perfect Earth Core warriors really that powerful? This time, the number of perfect Earth Core Realm martial artists that I have killed is much more than that Lung Chuyen. And I even killed a Heavenly Core warrior. If that's the case, Lung Chuyen might be a Heavenly Core warrior now. Although Ling Shao didn't care, he was still listening to the Koi King seriously. This Lung Chuyen had a huge grudge against him. She wouldn't let him go easily. Therefore, it wasn't a problem to learn more about her. He just wanted to scare Jiang Qin. Was this Koi King stupid? I say, cut the crap. Have you forgotten what happened in the archaic divine tomb? At first, you didn't take me seriously, but what happened later? Ling Shao said with a mocking tone. No matter if it is you or Lung Chuyen, if you behave, you won't get into any trouble. But if you want to attack me, then don't blame me for being ruthless. I promise I will kill you. Ling Shao, shut up. Di Tuatian roared. You really don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. In front of Lung Chuyen, you are nothing but a fart. Even Lu Qinmong is no match for Lung Chuyen, and the difference is huge. Your master Jiang Nan might be on par with her. You're the one who should shut up. Who gave you the right to roar at me? Ling Shao didn't give Di Tuatian any face. Who do you think you are? Someone came to ask for a disciple of the Fighting Soul Sacred City. Not only are you not angry, you even tried to send me away. A person like you is not worthy to be the Saint Lord of the Fighting Soul Sacred City. You. Di Tuatian's expression became even uglier. Just now, he only scolded Ling Shao because he felt embarrassed. But he didn't expect what he did would be even more embarrassing. What about you? If you think it's embarrassing, then shut up, Ling Shao said with disdain. Ha ha ha, Di Tuatian. Oh, Di Tuatian, you have really disappointed this old man. Even a brat can scold you. Relax. Leave this brat to Koi King to take care of today. I will definitely vent your anger for you. Bai Jianhai liked to see Di Tuatian suffer a setback very much. This made him feel very amused. Old thing, laugh your sister. What Koi King? Lung Chuyen. Your sword soul sacred cities, so-called geniuses, are merely defeated opponents under my hands. Chapter 4084. Presumptuous. Right at this moment, a man walked out from the crowd. This guy wasn't a disciple from the Sword Soul Saint City. He was a disciple from the Fighting Soul Saint City. He was the disciple of the great elder of the Law Enforcement Palace. He was also the strongest young law enforcement guard in the Law Enforcement Palace. His name was Tai LV. Tai LV looked at Ling Shao and said, I noticed it just now. How dare you be so rude to the Saint Lord? No matter if it's the Saint Lord of the Fighting Soul Saint City, or the Saint Lord of the Sword Soul Saint City, how dare you refute him? Don't think too highly of yourself just because you've completed this mission. If I remember correctly, you're only a peak 4th Heavenly Core Warrior. How dare you act so rashly in front of others with such a weak cultivation base? Today, I'll teach you a lesson. I'll let you know what it means to be strong. Saint Lord, what should we do? Koi Li looked at Bai Jianhai and asked. Let them fight, you just stand aside and watch. This Ling Xiao is quite famous. I really want to see what kind of abilities he has. Bai Jianhai was happy to see the disciples of the fighting Soul Saint City fighting amongst themselves. Ling Xiao looked at Tai LV with disdain and said, "This is my business. Why do you care?" Presumptuous. Tai LV's expression became gloomy. "I was just going to teach you a lesson. But since you're so arrogant and ignorant, today I'll cripple your cultivation and turn you into a cripple. You'll understand your identity and status." "Cripple me? You'll let me understand my identity and status?" Ling Xiao smiled. He had never offended this iron law before. Perhaps it was because he had killed a law enforcement guard before this. Or maybe this guy wanted to show off his power in front of Saint Lord Di Tuatin. It was even possible that this guy was interested in koi fish. "You can cripple him, but you can't kill him. His life is mine," Koi Li said coldly. "Don't worry, junior disciple Sister Koi Li. I'll let you deal with this ignorant fool." Not only was Tai LV not angry after hearing Koi Li's words, he even seemed happy. This guy was indeed interested in Koi Li. The reason he wanted to deal with Ling Xiao was probably because he wanted to show off his power in front of Koi Li. What a shameful fellow. He was obviously a disciple of the War Soul Sacred City. But he had to be a dog of the Sword Soul Sacred City. "That's good. Go ahead." Koi Li nodded. It was as if Tai LV had received an imperial edict. He cupped his hands at Koi Li and said, "Don't worry, Mississippi. I will definitely cripple him. Leave his life in Mrs. Hands." "Yes." The koi fish simply nodded. Ling Xiao had really disappointed her. Ling Xiao's cultivation was already inferior to hers back in the archaic divine tomb. Today, she was still not as good as her. What she didn't know was that her cultivation relied on other people's inner cores and martial souls to become stronger. His foundation was not stable, and his upper limit was not high. At most, he could cultivate to the extreme realm of alchemy, and he would not be able to make any further breakthroughs. However, Ling Xiao was different. Ling Xiao wanted to become the strongest cultivator in the profound world. He would never do anything that would affect his upper limit. Today's matter was rather interesting. Both Koi Li and Tai LV seemed to think that they had Ling Xiao in the bag. Ling Xiao was like a fish on the chopping board, allowing them to take care of him as they wished. Senior apprentice brother Tai LV, forget it. We're all disciples of the War Soul Sacred City. What's the point? Chen Yu could not resist saying. On the surface, she was pleading for Ling Xiao, but in reality, she was considering Tai LV's safety. Because she witnessed the scene of Ling Xiao defeating and killing Lu Qingmong with her own eyes. The Lu Qingmong in her normal state could easily defeat Tai LV. But the Lu Qingmong in her monster form was killed by Ling Xiao. Who was stronger between Ling Xiao and Tai LV? It was actually very clear already. However, when Tai LV heard this, not only did he not thank her, he even felt that she was a traitor. He snorted coldly and said, "Shut up, you traitor!" Chen Yu was furious. She thought to herself, then go to hell. Who cares about you? Seeing Chen Yu stop talking, Tai LV cast his gaze on Ling Xiao mockingly, then said mockingly, "Ling Xiao, oh Ling Xiao, you're really too pitiful. You think that you're a hero because you completed the mission. Actually, you're just a trash who basked in other people's light." He did not believe that Ling Xiao could have any contribution in the mission at all. Even if others said it, he would not believe it either, because it was simply impossible. "In my opinion, you're even more pitiful." Ling Xiao smiled contemptuously, then lifted his foot and walked toward Tai LV. True essence gushed out from his dantian, spiraling around his body. It looked like he was just walking toward Tai LV. There was no terrifying aura. There was no shocking performance either. It was just so calm, so indifferent. But the next moment, he already arrived in front of Tai LV. His right hand was wrapped in a layer of blood-colored armor. This was the power that came from the limitless sky rat and blood diamond sky rat. Partial beast transformation. It was no longer a fist, but a blood-colored sun. Everywhere the fist passed, blood energy exploded. Killing intent bloomed. Everyone was stunned for a moment. In this instant, things happened too quickly. Tai LV did not even think that Ling Xiao would take the initiative to attack. He hurriedly urged his true essence in an attempt to block Ling Xiao's punch. Dodge. That was impossible, because he could not dodge at all. Facing this blow, the only thing he could do was to block it. Boom! A violent aura bloomed on the spot. The raging power exploded in the void. The blood-colored light instantly enveloped Tai LV's entire body. At that moment, Tai LV felt as if he had been swallowed into the stomach of a ferocious beast. That kind of fear came from the depths of his heart. It was too terrifying. His figure hurriedly retreated. But even so, many parts of his body had been corroded by the blood mist. It looked very ferocious. Ling Xiao did not chase after him. He just smiled mockingly. With such little strength, you dare to clamor in front of me. You sad paramecium. How could there be a trash like you in the disciplinary hall? Ling Xiao's words made Tai LV's face very ugly. The faces of the 3 elders of the disciplinary hall were also ugly. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao, except for the few comrades who had gone through life and death with Ling Xiao. The rest of the people were shocked. Looking at the young man bathed in the bloodlight, they realized that they had underestimated this guy. This kid is not simple, but Tai LV underestimated him just now. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like this. Although everyone witnessed the fact that Ling Xiao repelled Tai LV with one punch, but stubbornly, they still felt that Ling Xiao was not Tai LV's opponent, because Ling Xiao's cultivation was not as good as Tai LV's, because Tai LV had underestimated him just now. Perhaps the strength of these 2 people was actually on par? Almost everyone had such a guess. Tai LV, are you playing around? The great elder of the disciplinary hall, Xing Meng, said coldly. Xing Meng's cultivation was very strong, but he was more special. He was a Soul Clan martial artist, and his cultivation method was different from ordinary martial artists. It was even different from Dark Frost. Although Dark Frost was a soul martial artist, she also cultivated her physical body. Chapter 4085. Xing Meng's physical body had almost become a shell. He had changed it countless times. This body might just be one of the shells he had changed in his life, but there was no doubt that his combat strength had reached D. Tuatian's level. His voice rang out, causing Tai LV to tremble in fear. He had to take responsibility for his own pretentious act. No one could help him at all. Ling Xiao, I didn't expect you to be much stronger than I thought, but this might be more interesting. If you were too weak, defeating you would be too boring. Tai LV was very good at acting. At this time he still said such words, as if he was much stronger than Ling Xiao. Just now he was just letting Ling Xiao win. Didn't anyone tell you that if you don't have the strength and still like to act pretentious, you will die miserably? Ling Xiao looked at Tai LV and sneered. Tai LV was obviously a little afraid in his heart. Now he was just being forced to ride a tiger. But in order to cover up his sorry state, he actually pretended to be very powerful. It was really tiring to live like this. I'm not acting pretentious. My strength is stronger than yours. Just now, I just underestimated you, so you took advantage of me a little. Do you really think you are that powerful? Tai LV was still stubborn. There was no other way. He couldn't admit defeat at this time. Forget it. It seems that the only way to shut you up is to cripple you. Ling Xiao didn't talk nonsense anymore. His hands turned into ferocious claws at the same time. A blood-red aura was constantly released. This fist borrowed the power of the blood diamond rat, but it wasn't a direct attack, so it consumed less energy. It could be used repeatedly. Not good. Shield Martial Soul. Tai LV released his martial soul. It turned out to be a shield. The huge shield blocked in front of him. It released a powerful force. It was as if no sword or saber could pierce through it. Kill! Ling Xiao's expression didn't change at all in the face of this huge shield. His gaze was still contemptuous. Blood light burst out from his hands, and his whole body was wrapped in blood. It was as if he had really turned into a bloodthirsty beast. Everyone felt a tremor in the depths of their souls, including those experts. Boom! Finally, the blood-red fists hit the huge shield. Crack! The shield shattered with a loud sound. Ling Xiao's fists landed on Tai LV's chest without any hindrance. Crack! This time, it seemed to be the sound of bones breaking. Iron Law simply could not block this terrifying attack. His body was blasted away. He fell heavily to the ground and could no longer stand up. Humph! Trash like this dares to challenge me? It's not worth mentioning. Ling Xiao still didn't give chase. After being hit by his fist, Iron Law was completely crippled. There was no need for him to kill this person. He just wanted to tell him the consequences of provoking him for no reason. This was called killing a chicken to warn the monkeys. Looking at this shocking scene, Yi Zichen shook his head. Everyone sighed and sighed with emotion. Ling Xiao was still standing there, arrogant and overbearing. And Iron Law, who was clamoring to teach Ling Xiao a lesson, was now lying on the ground like a dead dog. Only his hands and feet were trembling, but he didn't even have the strength to stand up. This was completely different from what most people had expected, except for those few people who carried out the mission with Ling Xiao. The rest probably thought that Ling Xiao wouldn't be a match for Iron Law. They probably thought that Iron Law could win. Unfortunately, reality always slapped them in the face. Miss Koi, help me take revenge. Tai LV finally raised his head, but he was asking Koi for help. Koi only looked at Ling Xiao coldly and didn't even look at Tai LV. In Koi's eyes, Tai LV was just an inconspicuous trash. He wasn't worthy of being looked at by her. Koi, give that brat some face. Our sword, spirit, sacred cities, secret technique can still help him recover. Di Tuatian, give us Iron Law, no problem, right? Bai Jianhai laughed. Whatever. Di Tuatian also didn't look at Tai LV, because he felt that Tai LV was too embarrassing for him. He originally hoped that Tai LV could help him defeat Ling Xiao and regain some face. But who knew that it would end up like this? He wished that he could slap Tai LV to death. Tai LV, are you willing to join my sword spirit sacred city? Bai Jianhai looked at Tai LV and asked, Willing, I'm willing. Even if I have to be a cow or a horse, I'm willing, as long as I can stay by Miss Koi's side. I can give up everything. He was really like a dog, disappointing to the extreme. Evil disciple. The great elder of the punishment hall, Xingmeng, was so angry that his flesh was trembling. This Iron Law was too shameful. It was simply a disgrace to the name of Battle Spirit Sacred City. The people of Battle Spirit Sacred City also felt embarrassed. The punishment hall's punishment guards were supposed to protect the sacred city and defend the honor of the sacred city. However, this Iron Law was actually so spineless to such an extent. He would rather be a dog for Sword Spirit Sacred City. It was too disappointing, too infuriating. Tai LV, you scum, compared to Ling Xiao, not only is there a difference in strength, but there is also a huge difference in character. You're simply a disgrace. Xingmeng originally thought that people like Ling Xiao were the scum of Battle Spirit Sacred City. But now he suddenly realized that he was wrong. Ling Xiao dissed the heavens and earth. He did not even put the sacred leader in his eyes. But when it came to the honor of Battle Spirit Sacred City, he would do his best. He would definitely not be as trashy as Tai LV. Ha 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 ha. I feel that a wise man submits to circumstances. Tai LV, you did well. Our sword spirit, sacred city, will accept you as a dog. Anyway, Battle Spirit Sacred City will soon disappear from this world. Bai Jianhai laughed and ordered someone behind him to help Tai LV over. Not only did Tai LV not look ashamed, instead he looked very excited. It was as if leaving Battle Spirit Sacred City and joining Sword Spirit Sacred City was a huge honor for him. Truly despicable. Looking at Tai LV, Ling Xiao lightly shook his head. He did not kill Tai LV because Tai LV was still considered a member of Battle Spirit Sacred City. But now Tai LV actually joined Sword Spirit Sacred City. To him, there was no need to sympathize. As long as there was a chance, he would chop off this traitor. After all, he hated traitors the most. So what if he's despicable? Your Battle Spirit Sacred City is now in a precarious situation. Sooner or later it will be destroyed by my Sword Spirit Sacred City. He came to my Sword Spirit Sacred City to be a dog. At least he can still live. But you? Your only result is to accept my Sword Spirit Sacred City's trial and finally die a painful death. You don't even have the chance to be a dog. Today no one can help you. Bai Jianhai sneered. Quietly do it. I can't wait for this kid to kneel in front of me and admit his guilt. Understood, sacred leader. Koi Li slowly walked towards Ling Xiao. When he was about 50 meters away, he stopped. Come with us obediently. Don't force me to make a move. Otherwise, not only will you be more miserable than that dog, you will also lose your dignity. Koi Li laughed. You guys talk too much nonsense. If you want to make a move, then hurry up. I could defeat you before. I can still defeat you now. Chapter 4086. I'll fulfill your wish. Koi Yu had been waiting for this day for a long time. She had finally met Ling Xiao, and she could finally take her revenge. She had been staring at Jiang Qin for a long time. Kill! Enraged, Koi Yu transformed into a huge carp behind her body. The carp leapt through the dragon's gate. It transformed into a divine dragon that looked like a piece of silk. The divine dragon entered Koi Yu's hands, and it was unleashed with a violent true yuan. The attack was aimed at Ling Xiao. Petty tricks. When Ling Xiao faced any warriors below the heavenly core realm, as long as he transformed into his beast soul, he would be able to win. He would be able to crush them. Therefore, he didn't take any warriors below the heavenly core realm seriously. That was iron rule. Koi Yu was the same. Against Koi Yu, Ling Xiao planned to end the fight in the most shocking way possible. The dark red blood mist transformed into the image of a gigantic blood heavenly drill rat. The berserk slaughter will continue to rise. Ling Xiao didn't even use this move when dealing with Iron Rule. If he did, he would be able to kill Iron Rule with just one move. But now he was facing Koi Yu. Ling Xiao didn't have much patience. This woman had chased him all the way from the western region to the 4 regions. This time he was going to make sure that she was completely dead. What kind of move is this? Why does it have such a terrifying killing intent? Everyone present revealed a shocked expression. Koi Yu, be careful, this guy is strange. Bai Jianhai warned, but too bad his warning came too late. Koi Yu didn't respond. Ling Xiao had already unleashed his attack. Roar! Amidst the violent roar, a blood mist covered Koi Yu. The blood-drilling rat opened its bloody mouth. He bit off the head of the divine dragon that was like a piece of brocade. So what if it was a dragon? It wasn't a real divine dragon. It was nothing more than an illusory thing created by human martial artists to show off their strength. Crack! The divine dragon shattered. Koi Yu's face was filled with fear. You were weaker than me in the past, and you are still weaker than me today. Ling Xiao's cold voice echoed in the air. The koi fish was at a loss. She had always been afraid of Ling Xiao. This time, she was here to solve her inner demons. But in the end, this was the result. It was too embarrassing. It was too tragic. Ling Xiao, stop! Di Tuatian roared. However, Ling Xiao simply ignored Di Tuatian. When he was being attacked, Di Tuatian chose to ignore it and even betray him. Now that he was about to win, Di Tuatian came out to stop him. What kind of **T logic was this? When Di Tuatian shouted, Bai Jianhai also attacked. However, he was still a step too late. The terrifying blood drilling rat swallowed the koi's entire body. Not a single trace was left behind. Boom! Jiang Nan took action to block Bai Jinhai's attack. However, his cultivation base was not as high as Bai Jinhai's, and he was forced to take tens of steps back. Blood trickled down the corners of his mouth. Fortunately, he managed to stop Bai Jinhai. Therefore, Ling Xiao was safe and sound. Ling Xiao, you killed my proud disciple. I'll kill you. Bai Jinhai did not look at Jiang Nan. Instead, he stared fiercely at Ling Xiao. That was hatred from the bottom of his heart. His eyes were incomparably scarlet, as if he had received a great provocation. Can you kill me? Ling Xiao mocked. Don't forget, this is the Fighting Soul's sacred city. Although our sacred lord is a coward, it doesn't mean that others are too. You really dare to make a move? Ha ha! Bai Jinhai laughed wildly and said, So what if it's the Fighting Soul's sacred city? Even if this old man kills you here today, no one will dare to say anything. Your master, Jiang Nan, is not bad. Unfortunately, she is not this old man's match. After killing you, this old man will kill her too. Bai Jinhai's words made many people in the Fighting Soul sacred city feel uncomfortable in their hearts. Even the sacred lord did not utter a word. What could others do? However, just as Bai Jinhai was about to make a move, a terrifying sword energy suddenly appeared. This sword, qi, caused everyone present to feel the threat of death. At that moment, their hearts trembled with fear. Bai Jinhai also stopped attacking Ling Xiao. His face was extremely stiff. He did not see anyone. Only the terrifying sword energy still existed. Elder Green Lotus, as an elder of the Golden City, you shouldn't interfere in the dispute of the 3,000 sacred cities, right? Bai Jinhai braced himself and said. He did not know where Green Lotus Swordswoman was, but he could feel the terrifying aura released by Green Lotus Swordswoman that made him not dare to act rashly. Get lost. There was no answer. Bai Jinhai only received one word. This voice was cold and sharp like a sword beam. It was as if a sword beam was attacking Bai Jinhai and piercing his heart. Bai Jinhai's face was very ugly. He might not care about others, but Green Lotus Swordswoman was a well-known figure in the Golden City. He could not afford to offend her. Since Elder wants to protect this kid, this subordinate does not dare to act rashly. Bai Jinhai gritted his teeth and then cupped his hands toward a place where there was no one. He turned around and left in a sorry state. He was here to pick a fight, but in the end he left a corpse behind. Wait, don't leave me behind. Poor Tai LV was not taken away by Bai Jinhai. He, who had been reduced to a cripple, shouted in horror, because he knew what kind of punishment he would suffer next. Evil creature, Xing Meng coldly snorted. Tai LV's face suddenly changed, and his expression became extremely ugly. When he wanted to beg for mercy, it was already too late. Xing Meng was a true soul martial artist, and his attacks were traceless. Tai LV had died tragically. Seeing Bai Jinhai and his group leave, Ling Xiao sneered and called the people of Jiangnan Palace to leave. This time, those who had completed the mission outside, except for Qinyu and Hinajiku, also went to Jiangnan Palace. Qin Yu wanted to return to Condor Palace, and Hinajiku wanted to stay by Di Tuatian's side, waiting for an opportunity to take revenge. Back to Jiangnan Palace, Green Lotus Swordswoman was waiting there. Sister Jiangnan, are you okay? Green Lotus Swordswoman looked at Jiangnan and asked, I'm fine, sister. I suffered a minor injury. Jiangnan replied, That's good. Since you're all here, let's eat and drink while talking about some important matters. Green Lotus Swordswoman reminded, This mission is only one part of the ranking battle. 1 month later, the second part will be carried out. That will be the true meaning of the battle. But this time, the selection will be based on the completion of the previous mission. You completed the mission very well, so it's very likely that all of you will participate in the battle. Ling Xiao, you killed Koi. I'm afraid you'll be targeted by Sword Spirit Sacred City. That Lung Chuyen is more scheming than coy. If she participates in this battle, I'm afraid she'll be able to enter the top 10. This will greatly increase the strength of Sword Spirit Sacred City. At that time, they'll obtain more resources. Once Sword Spirit Sacred City becomes much stronger than Battle Spirit Sacred City, then they'll definitely start a war. Golden City has always been open to the war between sacred cities. They won't stop it. Chapter 4087. Hearing Green Lotus Sword Lady's words, Zhan Long and the others frowned. For the 3,000 sacred cities, as long as one genius could enter the top 10, even if they couldn't go to Golden City to cultivate, then it would also greatly increase the status of this sacred city. The resources allocated would greatly increase. At that time, they would leave the other sacred cities far behind. Fighting Soul Sacred City was really in danger. What are you afraid of? Whether it's Koi or Lung Chuyen, they are just defeated by me. She still wants to enter the top 10? Dream on. Just as everyone was feeling uneasy, Ling Xiao suddenly said, That's right, we have Ling Xiao. What are we afraid of? Zhan Long said excitedly, That's right, Ling Xiao killed that Koi in one move, although Koi is much weaker than Lung Chuyen. But our Ling Xiao did not use his full strength. Right now, those top-ranked hulls don't put us in their eyes. That's because they don't know how powerful Ling Xiao is. Zhu Xiaohan also nodded repeatedly. Kid, it seems that your position in their hearts is very high. Green Lotus Sword Lady looked at Ling Xiao and sighed with emotion at Fighting Soul Sacred City's luck. If not for Ling Xiao, Fighting Soul Sacred City would probably be in trouble. But Ling Xiao's existence could turn unknown bad luck into good luck. Although Jiangnan Palace was full of confidence towards Ling Xiao and Fighting Soul Sacred City. However, outside, most of the disciples of Fighting Soul Sacred City were in a state of panic. What should we do? Ling Xiao actually killed Sword Soul Sacred City's Koi. We have to be careful when we go out in the future. Otherwise, we will be killed by people from Sword Soul Sacred City. That's right, they have Lung Chuyen. They can definitely enter the top 10 or even top 3 in the ranking battle a month later. Then Sword Soul Sacred City status will rise, and we will be miserable. This is all Ling Xiao's fault. Why don't we withdraw from Fighting Soul Sacred City? Even if we lose face, it's better than dying. Yes, withdraw. For a time, many disciples withdrew from Fighting Soul Sacred City and prepared to join other sacred cities. This was allowed in the 3,000 holy cities. According to the Golden City, if a holy city couldn't even keep its own disciple, then the holy city wouldn't be able to do anything. Then he didn't deserve them. In the end, nearly half of the disciples left Fighting Soul Sacred City. In addition to the ordinary disciples, there were also disciples of the general and the city lord who chose to withdraw. Among them, the most famous was actually the disciple of the Holy Master, Han Xiu. Han Xiu's ranking among the Holy Lord's disciples was rather low. But no matter what, he was still a mid-7th divine core warrior. The saint city he had joined was none other than the Sword Spirit Saint City. For this reason, they had also poached many disciples of the Fighting Soul Sacred City. For a time, the people of Fighting Soul Sacred City were in a state of panic. Seeing this, Di Tuatian also frowned. On the surface, the departure of these disciples seemed to be caused by Ling Xiao. But in fact, it was because he was too cowardly in front of Bai Jianhai. This made the disciples feel insecure. Looks like this War Soul Sacred City is already a mess. I should also leave. But before we leave, we must kill that Ling Xiao. Di Tuatian didn't have any feelings for Fighting Soul Sacred City. He was just here to accept the Golden City's appointment. Rather than being the Holy Lord of Fighting Soul Sacred City, he would rather be the city lord of one of the higher-ranked sacred cities. That way, his status would be higher. Ling Xiao didn't know that Di Tuatian had already decided to give up on Fighting Soul Sacred City. After the celebratory feast, Sword Lady Azure Lotus and Jiang Nan went to catch up. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, returned to his room to consolidate his cultivation. His cultivation had now reached the late 6th divine core realm. Compared to before he used the bloody devil rat, his cultivation was much stronger. From now on, he wouldn't have much of an advantage when facing his enemies. At most, he would only be able to break through to the next stage. For example, a late 6th divine core warrior could easily kill a late 7th divine core warrior. But for a peak 7th divine core warrior would be difficult. After all, he couldn't use the 12 divine beast skill as a normal combat style. He couldn't simply reveal his martial soul of tyrant either. Of course, he didn't even need to transform into a beast soul to easily defeat a warrior at the same level as him. There was no problem at all. Although the mission had been completed, the results of the 3,000 holy cities were still being tallied. Even if the results were to be announced, it would take at least 2 to 3 days. According to Sword Lady Azure Lotus, besides her, ancestor Scarlet Flame and Zhao Fengyin would be coming as well. The 3 of them would be the supervisors of the ranking battle. They would probably stay here until the ranking battle ended in 1 month. While Ling Xiao was cultivating, some news had spread like wildfire. Firstly, it was about Ling Xiao killing Koyu. This caused a huge commotion in the 3,000 holy cities. Before Koyu died, she was the goddess in countless young men's dreams. Not only was she beautiful, her cultivation speed was also incredibly fast. She and Lung Qian had always been the targets of many men. But Koyu was killed by Ling Xiao. On one hand, everyone was surprised that there was such a hidden genius in fighting Seoul Sacred City. On the other hand, everyone was rubbing their palms, eager to get even with Ling Xiao. But because Ling Xiao had been staying in fighting Seoul Sacred City for the past 2 days, they couldn't do anything. All they could do was cry out, but there was nothing they could do. At the same time, all the disciples in fighting Seoul Sacred City were proud of Ling Xiao. Those who could stay in fighting Seoul Sacred City under such circumstances were all loyal to fighting Seoul Sacred City. Ling Xiao's existence made them see hope and the future, so they pinned all their hopes on Ling Xiao. They hoped that Ling Xiao could bring about a miracle. At a certain moment, Hinajiku came to Jiangnan Palace. She found Ling Xiao. "The sacred lord wants you to go." Hinajiku said faintly, "What's the matter?" Ling Xiao asked, "I think he wants to kill you, but it's not good to offend Elder Azure Lotus, so he asked you to go. If he kills you, even Elder Azure Lotus can't do anything." Hinajiku said, truthfully, "I should have thought of this. I have some grudges with him, and it's time to settle them." If Ling Xiao wanted to improve his cultivation faster, he had to keep fighting with experts. Now, martial artists below the celestial core realm were of little help to him. Then, an expert like Di Tuatian would be the best opponent to fight against. "You're going." Hinajiku was surprised. "Of course." Ling Xiao smiled. "Are you crazy? You know he wants to kill you, but you're still going to die." Hinajiku was anxious. Although she did something stupid in the past, she had always admired Ling Xiao. Moreover, Ling Xiao had saved her life. She didn't want Ling Xiao to be killed. "There are too many people in this world who want to kill me. Di Tuatian isn't qualified." Ling Xiao smiled, not showing any signs of fear. This made Hinajiku even more shocked. She knew that Ling Xiao was strong, but she didn't know how many secrets Ling Xiao had. He wasn't even afraid of sacred Lord Di Tuatian. "All right, go back and report. Be careful. Tell him I'll be there later." Ling Xiao could choose not to go. Chapter 4088. The day he would have to face Di Tuatian had come earlier than he had expected. For Ling Xiao, this was definitely a huge challenge. However, this kind of challenge made it easier for Ling Xiao to become excited. "Senior Jian Chen, Senior Chu Ling, you've given me the divine demon sword soul. You've helped me through countless times. This time, I'll try to take revenge for you. But the opponent is too strong, I might not be able to kill him. But don't worry, What I said is a promise. I won't go back on my words. After Hinajika left, Ling Shao packed up and headed towards the Saint Lord's Palace. The Saint Lord's Palace. This was the first time he went there after coming to Fighting Soul Saint City. Although he didn't know who Jian Qin and Chu Ling were, but what Di Tuatian had done had made him want to kill them. Now it was Di Tuatian who wanted to kill him, and he was just a fish in the sea. If he defeated Di Tuatian, he would survive, and his strength would increase. If he lost, he would probably die. When he left, Ling Shao didn't tell anyone about this, including Sword Maiden Azure Lotus. Once a person had someone to rely on, he wouldn't be able to unleash his terrifying potential. That would be detrimental to his cultivation, and it would be detrimental to his strength. The Jiangnan Palace wasn't far from the Saint Lord's Palace. In just a few minutes, Ling Shao arrived. He raised his head and looked at this majestic place. A sneer emerged on Ling Zhao's face. Di Tuatian, I'll give you a big surprise. Di Tuatian's strength was much stronger than the great river bandits' leader, Yun Feng. He was a late heavenly core warrior, on par with Yun Xiao, based on common sense. Ling Shao wouldn't be able to defeat Di Tuatian, but could Ling Shao be judged by common sense? Of course not. Creak! The door of the palace was pushed open. No one was inside. Looks like in order to kill him, Di Tuatian had driven away all his servants. Only Hinajiku and Zhan Long were there. Both of them didn't have a good expression. Hinajiku was helpless. Zhan Long was angry. Why did you come? Zhan Long couldn't help but ask, how can I not come when the Saint Lord ordered me? Besides, you're the first friend I made after coming to War Soul Sacred City. If I don't do anything when you're in danger, am I still human? This was the other reason why Ling Shao had come. Di Tuatian used Zhan Long as a hostage. He had no choice but to come. It seemed like there was a choice, but in reality there was no choice. If I die, you can still avenge me. If both of us die, then we're all done for. Zhan Long sighed. What joy is there in life? What fear is there in death? Not to mention that he, Di Tuatian, might not be able to kill me. Ling Shao smiled and walked through the path between War Dragon and Hinajiku to reach the Holy Lord's throne. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the throne, and it gradually became clearer. Di Tuatian was wearing a golden robe and looked very impressive. An expression of contempt and mockery appeared on his face. Ling Shao, oh Ling Shao, in the end, you've been implicated by love. If you didn't come, I wouldn't be able to do anything to you, but you came. Even the Azure Lotus Swordswoman can't easily break into the Holy Lord's palace. After saying that, he pressed a mechanism on the throne. The entire Holy Lord's palace was enveloped by a powerful energy, and this unforeseen event alarmed everyone in Fighting Soul Sacred City. One by one, experts arrived. The 3 elders of the disciplinary hall. Jiangnan City, Lord Jiangnan. A heavyweight like the Azure Lotus Swordswoman had arrived. Many other city lords, generals, and commanders had also arrived. What happened? Why did the Holy Lord activate the War Soul Array? The first elder of the disciplinary hall, Xingmeng, asked in surprise. The War Soul Array would only be activated when War Soul Sacred City encountered an unprecedented crisis. Even the Holy Lord was in danger. I'm not sure, but someone saw Ling Shao enter the Holy Lord's palace. Xinghu said, What? Hearing this, Jiangnan and the Azure Lotus Swordswoman's expression changed greatly. Ling Shao had stepped into the Holy Lord's palace. It was obvious that he was in trouble. Could it be that Ling Shao is trying to assassinate the Holy Lord? Him. Stop joking. I feel that the Holy Lord has never been friendly to him. He wants to kill him, but he's afraid that the Azure Lotus Elder will interfere. That's a reasonable explanation. Sigh. I'm afraid Ling Shao won't be able to survive. I really don't know what the Holy Lord is thinking. He's the only decent disciple the War Soul Sacred City has. The crowd immediately began to discuss. Everyone found it unbelievable. They couldn't understand Di Tuatian's actions. Boom! The Azure Lotus swordswoman threw a punch. However, the War Soul array only shook a little, but there weren't any cracks. It seems that I can't break this War Soul array by myself. I hope Chi Hua and Zhao Fengyun can come quickly. Otherwise, the young master will be in trouble. Although Ling Xiao respected her, in her heart, Ling Xiao was the young master. He was her master's grandson. The people inside could already feel the tremors outside. Di Tuatian smiled and said, "See, the Azure Lotus swordswoman has already made her move. But it's meaningless. Although I really don't understand. Why would someone like the Azure Lotus swordswoman be so protective of you? But today I want you to die, so you have to die." Ling Xiao stood there without a trace of nervousness on his face. He just smiled faintly and said, "It's really an honor. The Holy Lord wants to activate the War Soul Sacred Cities array to kill me. How rare, how rare." Seeing Ling Xiao's expression, Di Tuatian frowned. According to his thoughts, Ling Xiao should feel fear now. Even if he didn't beg for mercy, his expression should have changed greatly. Why didn't he feel nervous at all? Did he have something to rely on? Or did he have a backup plan? Of course, he could be bluffing. After thinking for a long time, Di Tuatian still couldn't think of a reason why Ling Xiao was so calm. He decided not to think about it. After all, he had absolute power in front of Ling Xiao. Even if Ling Xiao had something to rely on, it was useless. "It seems that you don't fear me. But before I kill you, I want to know the answer to a few questions. You can choose not to answer. Then I'll kill you now. You can also choose to answer. I'll leave you a complete corpse." Di Tuatian had a lot of questions in his heart, and he wanted answers. "Don't worry, before you die, I'll tell you the answer to everything. But not now," Ling Xiao said faintly. "I'll die." Di Tuatian was stunned for a moment. Then he suddenly laughed, wildly. Amidst the wild laughter, a terrifying sword chi bloomed from his body. Behind him, a martial soul that belonged to him appeared. It was a sword, but this sword was a little strange. It bloomed with a golden light as hot as the sun, and the sword martial soul's level had already reached 40% innate realm. This was the first sword martial soul that Ling Xiao had met that was at the same level as his demon god sword soul. In this way, Ling Xiao didn't have any advantage in terms of sword martial soul. His cultivation was also inferior to his opponent. Chapter 4089. Do you understand now? You don't stand a chance against me. At this moment, Di Tuatian was like a peerless sword that had been sealed for a long time. The sword Qi pierced the surroundings. Even the people outside the Sacred Leader Palace could feel the sharp aura. The Sacred Leader actually released his martial soul to deal with Ling Xiao. Xing Meng didn't quite understand. Shouldn't killing Ling Xiao be easy? Could it be that Ling Xiao is a peerless expert? Many people were confused. However, from the outside they couldn't see inside at all. They could only feel the aura of both sides. At this moment, Di Tuatian's aura was extremely strong. As for Ling Xiao's aura, it was almost impossible to feel. Ling Xiao stood there without moving. However, he was surrounded by a bright golden light. His eyes couldn't see anything at all. It was as if he was in a red sun world. Tai Chi eye open. Four-leaf demonic eyes open. In order to defeat his opponent, Ling Xiao would do anything today. No matter what move it was, he had to try it. The Tai Chi eye could see that in the depths of the golden light, there was an even more dazzling golden light. It was in a human form. Without a doubt, it was Di Tuatian. "Sword, come." Di Tuatian's voice sounded. A long sword came from the void. It was very similar to his sword, martial soul. It was also completely golden. It shone brightly. The sword was not long, only 3 feet long. It was also not wide, only 7 inches. However, the sword chi that it released made the sword look like an incomparably huge sword. When the sword appeared, Di Tuatian's aura became even sharper. The temperature here also became even more terrifying. Hinajiku and John long hid in the corner and could still feel the torment. Fortunately, Ling Xiao was in front of them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to survive today. What a terrifying battle! Hinajiku finally realized how laughable her revenge was. Facing Di Tuatian, she had no chance at all. Celestial grade, Heavenly King artifact, golden red sword. Zhan Long had heard that Di Tuatian had the only low-grade, Heavenly King artifact in the entire War Soul sacred city. However, he had never seen it before. What he didn't expect was that the sword would actually appear today. The sword was held in Di Tuatian's hand, emitting an incomparably sharp light. Di Tuatian's sword intent was extremely terrifying. It was the same as Ling Zhao's, a peak sword intent. Moreover, Di Tuatian had also grasped the even more terrifying Scarlet Sunwell. He had also reached the pinnacle. In the past, Di Tuatian basically did not use Crimson Suns when he fought with others, because there was no need. He could kill his enemies with just his sword intent and his own cultivation. And today, the reason why he used the Scarlet Sunwell was so that he could safely kill Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, this brat, had shown too many unexpected things. As a sacred lord, he didn't want to fail miserably. Therefore, he had to use his full strength. Even a lion would use all its strength to catch a rabbit. Moreover, in Di Tuatian's eyes, Ling Xiao wasn't a rabbit, but a cunning and treacherous fox. You actually used such a powerful force to deal with a mere disciple like me. Holy Lord, oh Holy Lord, you really think highly of me. Everlasting, heavenly rat, beast soul, transformation. Ling Xiao did not hesitate. He directly released the everlasting, heavenly rat, beast soul transformation. At the same time, the Eastern Victory Heavenly Sword and Eastern Victory Demonic Sword were unsheathed. Violent sword qi bloomed. It actually formed a barrier around Ling Xiao. It blocked Di Tuatian's sword qi outside. It was as if he was holding two ferocious beasts. The killing intent continued to spread in the golden light. That frightening killing intent caused even an expert like Di Tuatian to feel a trace of fear. Why is it like this? Di Tuatian frowned. I can't see the grade of the two swords in this brat's hands, but it's even more terrifying than my scarlet gold sword. The aura it emits is like a wild beast from the universe. This brat must be eliminated as soon as possible. Otherwise, there won't be a chance. Are you afraid? Ling Xiao mocked. Actually, there's no need. I can tell you clearly. My strength is inferior to yours. I just want to surpass myself here. Surpass you. Di Tuatian looked at Ling Xiao and frowned even more. What a pity. If we weren't enemies, I would really be willing to take you as my disciple. I, Di Tuatian, have taken many disciples in my life. Many of them are outstanding, but there isn't a single one like you. I have to admit that you have the potential to surpass me, but unfortunately you don't have the time. Today you must die here. In this world, there will no longer be a Ling Xiao. Even if there is no enmity between us, you are not worthy to be my master. My master is much stronger than you. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, More importantly, I don't dare to compliment your character. Nonsense. In this world, the weak are prey to the strong. As long as I can become stronger, I will pay any price, even if I betray my master, betray my fellow disciples. I won't hesitate. You don't understand. You are still too young. Could one's character be eaten? As long as I can become stronger. So what if I am an unforgivable, evil demon? Di Tuatian roared. Is that so? Then let me see what you've become after you've lost your basic conscience. How strong can you be? Ling Xiao smiled slightly. Falling plum-clear shadow steps had already been used. His figure suddenly appeared in front of Di Tuatian. The enemy was too strong. Whether he attacked first or later, it didn't mean much. Just attacking first made one's fighting spirit soar. The two swords revealed two different sword principles. One was tyrannical, one was demonic. But whether it was tyrannical or demonic, they were all in the hands of this person called Ling Xiao. Can you see me? Di Tuatian's voice suddenly came from all directions. Relying on the golden light sword soul, he could make many martial artists extremely sullen in battle. Some people who were stronger than him couldn't even capture his position. How could they fight him? However, Ling Xiao was different. Ling Xiao had the Tai Chi Eye. The power of the Tai Chi Eye contained the origin of this world, yin and yang. How could a mere golden light stump the Tai Chi Eye? Until the moment when the sword blade touched Di Tuatian. Di Tuatian realized that something was wrong. Although he dodged very quickly, Ling Xiao's sword still stabbed him. It left a bloody mark on his body. The two swords danced. Ling Xiao attacked crazily. The sword shadows kept attacking Di Tuatian. The first few swords were still able to force Di Tuatian to frown. But after that it was basically meaningless. Di Tuatian used practical actions to prove his strength. He flew up and kicked Ling Xiao. Even though Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast, but he couldn't dodge this attack. He could only desperately use the two swords to block. Boom! The tyrannical power sent Ling Xiao flying. Ling Xiao flew dozens of meters away and hit the wall. Di Tuatian followed up with an attack in an attempt to kill Ling Xiao. However, the moment he hit the wall, Ling Xiao disappeared. He turned into a shadow and lurked in the darkness. Shadow warrior. Ling Xiao adjusted his breathing in the darkness. Chapter 4090. If you don't come out, I'll kill Zhanlong. Ling Xiao was in the shadow dancer state. As long as he did not release his aura, even Di Tuatian would not be able to discover him. Hence, Di Tuatian used Zhanlong to threaten Ling Xiao. Don't worry about me. Zhanlong roared. Di Tuatian, I don't need you to do anything. I'll take care of myself. Zhanlong hated being a burden to others the most. Today he was used as a hostage by Di Tuatian to threaten Ling Xiao. He felt that living was useless. Hence, he chose to kill himself. You want to kill yourself? Not a chance. A golden light sped away. The weapon in Zhanlong's hand was directly sent flying. However, what Di Tuatian did not expect was that the moment Zhanlong's weapon was sent flying, even Zhanlong himself disappeared. Brother Ling, where is this place? Zhanlong asked in surprise. This is the space of the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. You can stay here for now. Ling Xiao was now extremely glad that he had obtained a treasure like the Dongsheng Emperor Ring back then. Otherwise, facing Di Tuatian today would really be a headache. Di Tuatian's expression was very ugly. His only hostage had also been taken away by Ling Xiao. Now, he had no way to threaten Ling Xiao. I don't believe that you can hide forever. Di Tuatian snorted coldly. Although it was very difficult for him to discover Ling Xiao, it was also impossible for Ling Xiao to hurt him. Ling Xiao did not say anything. Instead, he directly released the bloodthirsty plague. A terrifying energy instantly invaded Di Tuatian's body. Insignificant skill. Di Tuatian did not care about this bloodthirsty plague at all. True origin activated, and the crimson sun will erupted. The blood-red energy that surged into his body was instantly expelled outside. If this was all the bloodthirsty plague could do, then it was naturally meaningless. However, now that the bloodthirsty plague had grown, it had an additional function. In addition to the instantaneous explosion of damage and weakening, it could also silently continue to weaken and damage. And it was extremely difficult to discover. The newly born plague was 100 times smaller than the previous plague. Hiding in Di Tuatian's cells, it continued to devour Di Tuatian's true essence and blood qi. In any case, Ling Xiao had already made up his mind. No matter what the method was, as long as it could weaken Di Tuatian, he would use it. 9-headed hell snake, beast soul, 9-headed snake, venom domain. After releasing the bloodthirsty rat plague, in order to hide his motives, he decided to use the bloodthirsty rat plague. Ling Xiao released the 9-snake poison domain. The 9-colored poison pounced at Di Tuatian at the same time, turning into 9 huge poisonous snakes. Do you really think you can hurt me with such petty tricks? Di Tuatien seemed to be very disappointed. It seems like you've exhausted all your tricks. He was just about to circulate his true essence to destroy the poison so that it could not enter his body. However, at this moment, Ling Xiao's attack came again. Frost Divine Dragon, Frost Dragon Breath. Even if it was only a momentary freeze, it still obstructed Di Tuatien's action of dispersing the poison. This caused a large amount of poison to enter Di Tuatien's body. Even if Di Tuatien could expel the poison, he would still be injured. Even if it was just a little bit of injury, it was enough for Ling Xiao. Taking advantage of the moment when Di Tuatien was expelling the poison, Ling Xiao threw out 3 formation refining stones in a row. It was still the pestilence bone dissolving formation, the 10,000 beast blood refining formation, and a lesser 10,000 thunder immortal slaying formation. Bastard! Di Tuatien realized that something was wrong and finally stabbed out with his sword. This sword was used at the right time. It was the moment when Ling Xiao finished setting up the formation and exposed his aura, unable to enter the shadow warrior form. Chi! The sword pierced through Ling Xiao's body. A bull-sized wound appeared on Ling Xiao's body. Blood gushed out wildly. Even the black tortoise divine body, which was equivalent to a peak 7th Order Emperor Realm defensive martial skill, could not withstand Di Tuatien's attack. It could not withstand a single blow. Ling Xiao frantically retreated and then quickly disappeared. He swallowed a large number of healing pills. Fortunately, the 3 formations had already been activated. Moreover, in order to attack Ling Xiao, Di Tuatien forcefully circulated his true essence and did not have time to expel the poison. As a result, he suffered an internal injury. Damn it, no heavenly core warrior has ever been able to hurt me. Ling Xiao, oh Ling Xiao, you've actually hurt me twice today. The first time, it was just a small external injury. But the second time, it actually caused me to suffer an internal injury. This is intolerable. Di Tuatien was extremely irritated. Right at this moment, the bloodthirsty plague, 9-snake poison field, plague bone melting formation, myriad beast blood refining formation, and lesser myriad lightning immortal slaying formation had all been activated, even though the effect was minimal. But a 1,000-mile dike could be destroyed by an ant's nest. Ling Xiao believed that he could definitely kill Di Tuatien. But right now he was feeling really bad. Di Tuatien's attack was just too powerful. He had attacked more than 10 times, but at most it was like a mosquito bite. But when Di Tuatien attacked, it was like he was bitten by a ferocious tiger. The difference in attack strength was just too huge. If it weren't for the fact that he had so many tricks up his sleeve, he really wouldn't have been able to do it. Of course, after fighting with such a mighty warrior, the energy in his cultivation sea had increased at an incredible speed. Originally, it was only 10% of the late 6th divine core realm. After just a few exchanges, it had increased to 30%. Indeed, he had made the right choice. A mighty warrior like Di Tuatien would really help him become stronger. But with such a small increase, it was impossible for him to increase his overall strength by much. Facing the terrifying Di Tuatien, he was still in a very dangerous situation. It looked like he couldn't continue like this. He had to use the power of the Sky Tyrant martial soul, relying on the effect of the healing pill and his already powerful recovery ability. Di Tuatien was able to recover quickly. Half an hour later, he had almost fully recovered. After that, he unleashed the martial soul barrier. He blocked the daisy outside. Of course, more importantly, he wanted to use the martial soul barrier to block the aura of the Sky Tyrant martial soul. Although he couldn't completely block it, as long as he could block most of it, those people outside wouldn't be able to sense it. Sky Tyrant martial soul. Bang! In an instant, a shocking energy exploded within the martial soul barrier. The world that was originally shining with golden light turned into nothingness. Everything was empty. What is this? Di Tuatien was shocked. He could feel that at this moment, Ling Xiao's strength had increased explosively. This increase had even given Ling Xiao the ability to fight him face to face. Although he was still no match for him, he was no longer as helpless as before. Kill! Once again, Ling Xiao turned into a blood-red lightning and dashed forward. With the help of the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, his speed had increased by 100 times. Originally, he was still weaker than Di Tuatian, but now he had completely surpassed Di Tuatian. Bang! The Eastern Victory Demon Sword and Eastern Victory Heavenly Sword collided with Di Tuatian's Golden Sword. Di Tuatian was forced back half a step. A surprised expression appeared on his face. He could feel that Ling Xiao's strength had increased by at least 100 times. Aside from his cultivation level, his combat strength had basically reached the early heavenly core realm. Although he was still weaker than Di Tuatian, but the huge gap between them was no longer there. He now had the ability to kill Di Tuatian. What secret skill did you use? How did you manage to unleash such a terrifying combat strength? If this gets out, you'll be in big trouble. Chapter 4091. Di Tuatian was shocked. He was a Saint Lord, a late heavenly core warrior. Facing a late mortal core warrior, he was forced to retreat. Even if he told others about this, no one would believe him. This young man was really too shocking. But, so what if his combat strength had increased? He was still weaker than Di Tuatian. He hadn't even used his full strength yet. Golden Star, shattering light. Di Tuatian thrust his sword forward. Golden sword chi shot towards Ling Xiao like a shower of meteors. Each sword energy was powerful enough to kill Ling Xiao. King Kong Ape, indestructible King Kong. With the help of the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, the indestructible King Kong Ape was even more powerful. The power of the entire universe was supporting it. The gigantic King Kong Ape blocked Di Tuatian's golden sword energies. The sword energies smashed onto the King Kong Ape's body like raindrops. Although the defense was shattered, however, all of the golden light, sword chi, was completely blocked. Good kid. Looks like your strange secret skill didn't just increase your combat strength. Even your speed and defense have increased. You're really hard to deal with. If we can work together, the Fighting Soul Sacred City will definitely become the #1 Saint Cities. Work together with you. I told you, you don't deserve it, Ling Xiao said with disdain. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Golden Divine Realm, Shattered Star Ocean, an even more brutal sword skill was unleashed. The Crimson Gold Sword unleashed an even more terrifying sword energy. It actually formed a terrifying existence like the Milky Way. It covered the sky and covered the earth as it charged towards Ling Xiao. Damn it, in my Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, he can actually form a galaxy of sword energies? This Di Tuatian is indeed a late heavenly core warrior. This is terrifying. The longer the battle went on, the more frightened Ling Xiao became. Of course, what he didn't know was that Di Tuatian was even more surprised than him. Di Tuatian's cultivation was much higher than his, but he couldn't defeat him. Although he was under a lot of pressure, he was still the weaker one. It was normal for him to be at a disadvantage. Back off. Ling Xiao knew that Di Tuatian's sword attack was an 8th grade Emperor martial skill, and it was a mid-grade martial skill. It was even more violent than his Blood Diamond Rat. It was impossible to block it. It could only weaken the opponent's attack power. Innate Seal of Celestial Demons, Bloodthirsty Forest. The two swords simultaneously activated their true essence. Double Bloodthirsty Forest overlay, coupled with the power of the tyrannical martial spirit. The bloodthirsty jungle seemed to have transformed into a cosmic jungle. Its power had increased tremendously, reaching the peak of the 7th level Emperor grade martial skill. Even so, the bloodthirsty forest was still completely destroyed by Di Tuatian's sword chi after a short while. However, it was just as Ling Xiao had expected, even if the bloodthirsty forest was destroyed. But he also got a chance to catch his breath. He managed to avoid the most terrifying attack. Even if the remaining attacks hit him, they wouldn't be able to cause much damage. Only traces of blood could be seen as proof of Di Tuatian's attack. Although this bloodstain did not affect Ling Xiao much, it still proved how terrifying Di Tuatian was. Tisk tsk, as expected of the sacred lord. His attacks are indeed terrifying. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. He had almost exhausted all his skills. However, up until now, he was still completely suppressed. Your potential is indeed terrifying. If you were given another year or two, no, even if you were given another month or two, you would probably be able to surpass me. But unfortunately, you are too arrogant. So, you will definitely die here today. As long as you die, I will have no worries. Di Tuatian actually felt that it was a pity. Ling Xiao was the most terrifyingly talented person he had ever seen. His potential was even greater than any genius he had ever seen in the City of Gold. It was a pity that he didn't realize it earlier. Now, the two of them had become sworn enemies. There would never be a day when they would reconcile. He could only kill Ling Xiao to avoid being killed by Ling Xiao in the future. Golden Light, Divine Realm, Meteor Sword. This attack was even more powerful than the previous one. The sword skill just now was only at the 8th level Emperor grade, and this attack was a high-grade 8th Order Emperor level attack. It was also Di Tuatian's most powerful sword skill. In order to kill Ling Xiao, he had no choice but to use his most powerful sword skill. He wanted to end it once and for all. He definitely wouldn't give Ling Xiao a chance to live. Along with that sound, a huge golden sword fell from the void. It actually turned into a meteor and fell. It was like a dozen meteors connected together, from big to small. The smallest one was the tip of the sword. This huge pressure made Ling Xiao realize clearly there was a huge gap between his strength and Di Tuatian's. Even if he used the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, he still couldn't make up for this gap. But so what? Was he going to admit defeat? No, never. Innate Celestial Demon Seal, all beasts in one. The East Victory, Heavenly Sword in his right hand, was brewing a powerful sword skill. Innate Celestial Demon Seal, Bloodthirsty Celestial Demon. The East Victory Demonic Sword in his left hand was brewing a powerful sword skill at the same time. It was different from before. This time, Ling Xiao finally used his dual-wielding skills. These weren't just two simple weapons. Instead, he used both hands to perform different sword skills at the same time. Even Di Tuatian couldn't do this. Boom! Boom! 2 consecutive booms. Ling Xiao used 2 sword skills to block one of Di Tuatian's sword skills. Under the support of the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul, Ling Xiao's 2 sword skills were comparable to the beginner 8th level martial arts of the Emperor class, although it was still inferior to Di Tuatian's attack. But it wasn't to the extent that he couldn't block it. At that moment, the most terrifying explosion sound was heard in the martial spirit barrier. Ling Xiao was directly sent flying, and Di Tuatian couldn't withstand the impact of this skill explosion and was also sent flying. This scene left Hinajiku dumbfounded. Too strong. Di Tuatian was too strong. Ling Xiao was too monstrous. The aura of this terrifying explosion couldn't be completely covered by the martial spirit barrier. It was directly released outside. This caused the expressions of the people outside to change greatly. Is the Holy Lord really facing Ling Xiao? It feels like the Holy Lord has even used the meteor sword. I also don't dare to believe it. Could it be that some expert has snuck into Fighting Soul Sacred City and Ling Xiao just happened to enter? Xing Meng also frowned. No matter who it was, they couldn't believe that the person fighting with Di Tuatian inside was Ling Xiao. That was too unreliable. Sister Qinglian, what do you think? Jiang Nan asked through soul transmission. It's Ling Xiao. Others couldn't sense it because their cultivation was too low, but she could sense that the person fighting with Di Tuatian inside was Ling Xiao. It was just that she did not understand how Ling Xiao's battle prowess had suddenly become so terrifying. This kid, what else is he hiding in front of me? She shook her head and smiled bitterly, but she didn't blame Ling Xiao. Instead, she admired Ling Xiao even more. If Ling Xiao were to reveal all his secrets to someone he had only met a few times, she would definitely be shocked. That would be a real idiot. But how can Ling Xiao be so strong? Jiang Nan was shocked. In any case, she was considered Ling Xiao's master, although she really didn't teach Ling Xiao anything. Chapter 4092. Let's not worry about this for now. Although Ling Xiao has become much stronger, he is still no match for Di Tuatian. Why aren't those two old men here yet? Sword Maiden Azure Lotus was getting anxious. Ling Xiao was fighting inside, and all she could do was watch from the outside. This feeling was too much for her to bear. Within the Saint Lord's palace, Di Tuatian finally realized that something was wrong. The attack this time was much weaker than he had expected. Only now did he realize that he had been tricked by Ling Xiao. I didn't expect this guy to have such a terrifying secret skill. It can weaken my true yuan and qi and blood. Although this speed isn't fast. But if this continues, it will be terrifying. I have to end this as soon as possible. Di Tuatian calculated. If this continued, he would only need 1 day to weaken his true yuan and qi and blood by 1/3. Don't underestimate this third. It meant his overall combat strength had been weakened by 30%. Originally, he could suppress Ling Xiao, but now he couldn't. Di Tuatian gave up on the idea of continuing the battle. He was going to use his most powerful attack, although the meteor sword was his most powerful martial skill. But it was not enough. He needed to strengthen the meteor sword. He was a late heavenly core warrior. He was also a man who had a secret skill. How could he not have a way to increase his combat strength? However, this skill was similar to the Bloody Rat Devil, although it wasn't as powerful. But it still had some side effects. That was why Di Tuatian didn't want to use it immediately. But now he couldn't delay any longer. Besides, he believed that Ling Xiao had used all his trump cards. There was no need for him to continue probing. If this continued, he would be the unlucky one in the end. Thinking about this, a determined and cruel look emerged in his eyes. Sword Talisman, activate! Di Tuatian shouted out coldly. A sword beam shot out from his body. It was only the size of a palm. It looked like a talisman made from jade. Blood Soul Talisman. Ling Xiao had seen the Blood Soul Talisman before, so he could recognize the sword talisman in Di Tuatian's hand. And I didn't expect you to know about the Blood Soul Talisman. Since you know about it, you should know how powerful it is, right? Sword Talisman. Fuse into the scarlet gold sword. As Di Tuatian spoke, he fused the sword talisman into the scarlet gold sword. In that instant, the golden red sword's strength clearly rose. It was at least 10 times stronger than before. The golden light once again occupied most of the space in the martial spirit barrier. At that moment, Di Tuatian appeared even more like a god. He could control the life and death of his enemies at any time. His clothes fluttered in the wind. A solemn and determined expression appeared on his face. Such a terrifying commotion shocked the people outside once again. He actually forced the sacred leader to use the sword talisman. Who is this opponent? At this moment, other than the Green Lotus swordswoman, no one dared to believe that Di Tuatian was fighting inside. It was actually Ling Xiao. Golden Light, Divine Domain, Sword Talisman, Heavenly Might, Meteor Sword. It was the same martial skill, but after fusing with the Sword Talisman, it was no longer a high-grade 8th level Emperor-class martial skill. Instead, his cultivation had soared to the peak of 8th Order Emperor realm. Their power was incomparable. One had to know that in the entire War Soul Sacred City, there was no such thing as a peak 8th Order Emperor realm martial skill. Even a high-grade 8th Order Emperor realm martial skill could only be mastered by this sacred leader. There were only a dozen or so mid-grade 8th Order Emperor realm martial skills and elementary martial skills in total. Di Tuatian believed that he could use this move. Ling Xiao would definitely not be able to block it. In the vast universe, a group of meteorites formed a huge divine sword and attacked Ling Xiao. Explosive booms could be heard continuously. Even the entire Sacred Leader Palace was shaking. Hinajiku was completely dumbfounded. This scene was too shocking. It seems that I have to use my strongest attack. Otherwise, I will definitely die under this attack. 2 swords as one. The Eastern Victory Sky Sword and the Eastern Victory Demon Sword merged into one. The weapon soul of the blood-fong heaven-splitting rat appeared perfectly. Ling Xiao seemed to be holding a ferocious beast in his hand. It was shocking and terrifying. Senior Jian Chen, Senior Chuling, please watch over me. Even though this attack couldn't kill him, he had to block it. As long as I can survive, even if this battle lasts for a few days and nights, I will wear him down. Ling Xiao called out Jian Chen and Chu Ling's names in his heart. Kill Di Tuatian. Not only because Di Tuatian wanted to kill him, it was also because he had promised Jian Chen and Chu Ling that he would take Di Tuatian's life. The power of the blood-fong heaven-splitting rat and the blood-drilling rat merged. It turned into an even more ferocious monster. His cold eyes stared at Di Tuatian in the distance. There was no emotion, only coldness. A terrifying aura condensed on Ling Xiao's hands at an extremely fast speed. The sword will and the beast god will merged into one. You're still not dead. Di Tuatian didn't believe that he couldn't kill Ling Xiao with a full-strength attack. The previous meteor sword was only a row of falling meteorites. But this time, it was a sword river formed by meteorites. The scene was extremely spectacular. Even Di Tuatian himself was amazed by the terrifying power of the sword. This sword, not to mention Ling Xiao. Even a martial artist of the same cultivation level would be directly shattered. Even the soul could be destroyed at the same time. Blood-drilling rat of the 12 divine beasts technique. Even if you're a sword, qi formed by a river of stars. However, my blood-heaven-piercing rat is a star-devouring behemoth. Under the enhancement of the Sky Tyrant Martial Soul. This move that was originally only at the beginner 8th level of the Martial Emperor level. But now it could unleash the power of an advanced 8th level Martial Emperor level martial skill, although it was still inferior to his opponent. Ling Xiao's advantage was that his physical body was stronger. Although Di Tuatian's cultivation level was higher than his physical body was much weaker than his. After all, not every martial artist would cultivate defensive martial skills. Falling Star River, blood-drilling, rat-swallowing sky. One was blood-red, the other was bright. The 2 types of power exploded in the martial soul barrier with unprecedented impact. The martial artists standing outside all felt the ground shaking. Who is it? Who sneaked into our fighting soul sacred city? Is it Bai Jianhai? Xingmeng was confused. Even if he saw the battle between Ling Xiao and Di Tuatian with his own eyes, he probably wouldn't believe it. That was because this sort of thing was simply too inconceivable. It was unbelievable. Boom! Finally, the Star River and the blood-drilling rat collided. An even more terrifying explosion sounded. Hinajiku couldn't stand still. Her body was sent flying in all directions. It was unbearable. Even the people outside, those who were slightly weaker, could not stand steadily. Every single one of them revealed a look of horror. Oh no! Di Tuatian seems to be ruthless. Can the young master block it? Sword Lady Blue Lotus was going crazy. 2 terrifying moves collided. 2 types of sword principles. 2 types of will. The ultimate collision of the 2. Ling Xiao knew very well that he was at a disadvantage, but he relied on his strong body to release his true essence crazily. This was another advantage he had. His true essence didn't lose to Di Tuatian at all. Even his potential was almost exhausted. Chapter 4093. After a long stalemate, the 2 of them were once again sent flying at the same time. Even the martial soul barrier had cracks on it. Ling Xiao's body was covered with wounds. None of them were unscathed. He was lying on the ground, motionless. He could no longer maintain the martial soul barrier. The martial soul of Tyrant God had also returned to his body. Hinajiku, feed me the medicine! Ling Xiao shouted at Hinajiku. Hinajiku walked over to Ling Xiao, took out some healing and recovery pills, and fed them to Ling Xiao. On the other side, Di Tuatian's condition wasn't any better than his. His body was also covered with wounds. He couldn't move either. Di Tuatian couldn't believe what he was seeing. Hinajiku, what are you doing? Kill that guy! Di Tuatian roared. Compared to Ling Xiao, his condition was slightly better. At least he could still move. He could even stand up. There was still some true yuan left in his body. A late heavenly core warrior was indeed powerful. Ling Xiao had tried his best, but he still couldn't win. Hinajiku didn't pay any attention to Di Tuatian. She just fed Ling Xiao some pills. After that, she stood up. She walked towards Di Tuatian. Do you still remember the family that you exterminated? You killed my parents just for a sheepskin scroll. You killed my family. I've been waiting for the day I can take my revenge. Today, the day I've been waiting for has finally come. While walking towards Di Tuatian, Hinajiku had a cold expression on her face. At that moment, Di Tuatian was seriously injured. Although, she still didn't know if she could take her revenge. But this was her best chance. She had to give it a try. If Di Tuatian didn't die now, then she and Ling Xiao would have to die. Ling Xiao furrowed his brows and tried to recover as soon as possible. He didn't know why, but he had a bad feeling about this. Right now, because of the brutal attack, just now, the energy in his cultivation ocean had once again increased to 100%. He was just one step away from breaking through to the peak 6th divine core realm. But his body was empty. Even his potential had been depleted. Luckily, he still had some treasures he hadn't used. For example, the thief god's inner core. This was the best time to devour it. A single inner core of the thief god could not only fill his potential to the brim. Moreover, it could directly raise the upper limit of his potential to the level of the extreme core realm. In that case, when he fought in the future, he would be able to use even more true essence. It wouldn't be like today, where even his potential was exhausted. Hinajiku, don't listen to other people's nonsense. I had nothing to do with your parents' death. Di Tuatian said loudly. He was also recovering. Therefore, he had to stall for time. How could your disciple Zhang Ruofeng be lying? Hinajiku said coldly. Di Tuatian frowned. He had never thought that his disciple would betray him. How depressing. All right, even if he said it, did he mention me? Di Tuatian asked. He didn't. He only said that it was City Lord Di Ying's order. Daisy thought for a moment and said, This silly woman. Ling Xiao could tell that Di Tuatian was stalling for time and hurriedly shouted, Hinajiku, he's stalling for time. Do it now. His words made Hinajiku realize what was going on. She quickly drew out her sword and thrust it forward. She was now an early 7th divine core warrior, and her combat strength wasn't weak. But this thrust couldn't break through Di Tuatian's defense. Silly woman, you're too late. Di Tuatian sneered, then he struck out with his palm and sent Hinajiku flying away. Hinajiku fainted on the spot, but Di Tuatian didn't chase after her. Although he said that it wasn't what he thought. Although his attack had sent Hinajiku flying away because he had used his true essence, something went wrong when he was meditating just now. Not only did his injury not get better, it actually got worse. Damn it, you're all a bunch of traitors. Di Tuatian looked at Ling Xiao, then he looked at Hinajiku. If he attacked now, he could kill both of them. But the problem was he couldn't move at all. He could only sit down cross-legged and heal. Hopefully, he could do it before Ling Xiao recovered. You must be thinking about how you can kill me once you've recovered, right? Too bad. I won't be able to fulfill your wish today. Life Rewind. With the use of Life Rewind, Ling Xiao, who was on the verge of death and couldn't move, suddenly stood up from the ground. Not only had his true essence completely recovered, his body was also intact. Only his potential was still slowly being filled up. It seemed like life rewind didn't include the recovery of potential. Holy Lord, are you panicking? Ling Xiao smiled. Di Tuatian was really panicking. He was panicking like a dog. He had painstakingly beaten Ling Xiao until he was severely injured. He thought that his chance had come. But in the end, this was the situation. Was this young man a god? The so-called genius Lung Chuyen was nothing in front of him. He estimated that more than half of the holy lords in the 3,000 holy cities couldn't kill him. Monster. He was really a monster. How could this be? Plum blossom acupuncture hand. Ling Xiao had something to say to Di Tuatian, but he couldn't let Di Tuatian recover. So he used the plum blossom acupuncture hand. He sealed Di Tuatian's acupuncture points and meridians. This made Di Tuatian fall into despair. How could this be? Di Tuatian was really desperate. This young man was too scary. What kind of monster was he? Don't worry about me first. Listen to me. Ling Xiao simply moved a small stool and sat down. If he wanted to kill Di Tuatian, he had to let him know. Otherwise, he wouldn't have a sense of accomplishment. First, your son Di Ying wasn't killed by Yun Feng of the Great River Bandits, but by me. In addition, Lu Qinmeng by Luo Huangquan and Guili were the same. Second, and the most important point, do you remember a couple? Their names were Jianqin and Chu Ling. Hearing these two names, Di Tuatian trembled. How do you know these two people? Di Tuatian asked coldly. Ling Xiao smiled. I really didn't find the wrong person. You are their disciple. Di Tuatian asked. Kind of. My innate god-fiend, sword soul, was inherited from them. Ling Xiao said indifferently. I'm not afraid to tell you. Before the two seniors died, they asked me to kill you. Avenge them. Actually, when I first came to Fighting Soul Sacred City, I was a little conflicted. Because I didn't know what kind of person you were. I didn't want to kill the innocent. And I didn't want to kill the wrong person. But you disappointed me too much. Even if the two seniors didn't ask me to kill you, I would still kill you for what you did. You found the wrong person. Di Tuatian suddenly said. It said that people speak the truth when they are about to die. But you still want to play tricks at this time? Ling Xiao smiled. No, you found the wrong person. I don't deny that I killed Jianqin and Chu Ling. But they should know that with my strength I can't kill them. Di Tuatian shook his head. You mean there is another murder behind this? Ling Xiao had thought of this long ago. Jianqin and Chu Ling were very powerful. He didn't know it at first, so he wasn't too sure. But now he knew it clearly. Jianqin and Chu Ling had both reached the heavenly core realm. Even the current Di Tuatian would not be able to kill those two people by himself. Chapter 4094. Although he knew there was someone behind Di Tuatian's back. But that was a matter for the future. Jianqin and Chu Ling only asked him to kill Di Tuatian. Perhaps they were worried that he couldn't afford to offend the person behind this. For now, he shouldn't pay attention to it. Once his strength reached a certain level, it would be easy to decide whether to kill or not. Since you've told me everything, should I ask you a question? It seemed like Di Tuatian had given up on resisting. Being controlled by a late 6th divine core warrior was indeed a bit shameful. But he had no other choice. He just wanted to die with a clear understanding. Ask away. Ling Xiao said with an indifferent tone. When you came here, did you think you could kill me? Di Tuatian asked. No. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, When I came here, I only had a 30% chance of killing you. I needed to cooperate well in every aspect in order to succeed. Luckily, you're weaker than I thought. I didn't find the bloodthirsty plague. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to hurt you with my last attack. Also, I have something to tell you. During this period of time, Hinajiku has been serving you with a colorless, odorless, and temporarily harmless poison in your tea. Of course, she took the poison from me. Once it combines with the bloodthirsty plague, it will unleash a terrifying amount of damage. It will damage your meridians and inner core. So you've planned this all along. Kid, you're really scary. It was your idea to make Hinajiku my disciple, right? You were the one who taught her all those tricks to please me, weren't you? Ha 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 ha. I never expected this. I can't believe there's someone more sinister and vicious than me in this world. You're strong, I admit defeat. But even so, you still don't have the confidence to kill me, right? Aren't you afraid of death? Di Tuatien let out a wild laugh and asked, Of course, I still have my biggest trump card. Master, you can activate the Battle Soul formation now. Let Azure Lotus Swordswoman, Old Ancestor Scarlet Flame, General Zhao Fengyan, and Governor Jiang Nan in here. Ling Xiao suddenly said, Master. Di Tuatien was dumbfounded. Who was Ling Xiao's master? He had never heard of this before, and this master could actually break the Battle Soul formation? How was this possible? But whether he thought it was possible or not, the Battle Soul array had been activated. Green Lotus, Swordswoman, and the others came in. When Forefather Scarlet Flame and Zhao Fengyan arrived, the battle inside had already ended. Just as they were about to forcefully break the Battle Spirit array, the Battle Spirit array activated itself, and there was a voice telling them to enter. As for the others, they were blocked outside. Di Tuatien looked outside. Green Lotus Swordswoman, Ancestor Scarlet Flame, Zhao Fengyan, and Jiang Nan hurriedly rushed in. Bastard! How dare you hurt my young master? I'll kill you! As soon as Forefather Scarlet Flame entered, he flew into a rage. He grabbed Di Tuatien's collar. However, in the next moment, he suddenly realized that Di Tuatien's entire body was injured to the point of no return. Moreover, his meridians and acupoints were all sealed. Even the healing medicine that he had taken couldn't take effect. Could it be that young master did this? Ancestor Scarlet Flame asked in shock. Who else could it be but him? Di Tuatien smiled bitterly and said, My biggest mistake was that I knew too little about Ling Xiao. I didn't expect him to have such a terrifying trump card. I also didn't expect him to have a master who was proficient in array formations. Of course, I didn't expect the three of you to gather together for him. Although Green Lotus Swordswoman and the other two were incomparably powerful. Standing there, they were like mountains, causing Di Tuatien to feel a huge amount of pressure. However, he was about to die. Di Tuatien didn't care about this at all. You're really too stupid. When I recommended young master to come to the Battle Spirit Sacred City, you should have understood what I meant. At that time, what you should have done was to accept him as a disciple and teach him well. Perhaps the grudge between you two could have been resolved. But look at what you've done. Sigh, this is fate. Even I can't save you after offending young master. Green Lotus, Swordswoman sighed. To be honest, she felt that it was a pity. Di Tuatien was also a genius. If he died like this, it would definitely be a huge loss to the Golden Heavenly Nation. It seems that Ling Xiao's secret is even bigger than I thought. Di Tuatien smiled bitterly. He regretted it a little. However, it was too late for regrets. Fine, just give me a quick death. It's not a loss to die in the hands of someone like you. I'll fulfill your wish then. Ling Xiao struck out with his palm. It landed on Di Tuatien's head. Don't tell me you think you can kill me like this. Show me something stronger. Di Tuatien looked at Ling Xiao with a mocking expression. Is that so? You still want to act tough when you're about to die? Ling Xiao sneered. From his palm, a blazing flame was unleashed. This is an immortal flame. Di Tuatien was surprised. You still have a secret. Do you think you can fully understand my secret? Ling Xiao smiled. The raging flame was boiling. Di Tuatien was completely burned into ashes. At the same time, all the energy in Di Tuatien's body flowed into Jiang Chen's, together with the thief god's inner core. Ling Xiao's cultivation had finally broken through to the peak 6th heavenly core realm. Thank you, Ling Xiao. The moment Jiang Chen killed Di Tuatien, Ling Xiao suddenly heard two voices. They were the marks left behind by Jian Qin and Chu Ling in his body. At this moment, he was completely free. No need to thank me. Seniors, rest in peace. Ling Xiao clasped his palms together towards the sky. After killing Di Tuatian, it seemed like Ling Xiao had finally relaxed. The stone in his heart had finally been lifted. When Ling Xiao promised Jian Qin and Chu Ling to avenge them, he didn't know much about the 4 major domains. Even in front of the weakest warriors in the 4 major domains, he was just a piece of trash. But now he had actually completed his revenge. Even Jiang Qin himself found it unbelievable. Young master. Before this, Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Zhao Fengyan didn't really respect Ling Xiao. They only called him young master because of what happened to Hongqi. But right now they were really in awe of this young man. Even Fear, a late 6th Heavenly Core Warrior, was actually able to kill a late 8th Heavenly Core Warrior. Although they didn't know what had happened just now, they knew that it was something impossible for them to do. I'm sorry for making you guys worry. Ling Xiao said with an indifferent tone, You should take it easy in the future. Since I have the confidence to step into the Saint Lord Palace, I won't die. Even if I can't kill Di Tuatian, I can still escape. I don't need a maid. I need someone who can help me when I'm in danger. Do you understand? Understood. Zhao Fengyan and Ancestor Scarlet Flame cupped their fists together. They didn't feel conflicted because of Ling Xiao's admonishment. On the contrary, there was an aura coming from Ling Xiao that even they were afraid of. Of course, Ling Xiao knew what it was. It was something that had been hiding in the depths of the universe of Tyrant. Chapter 4095. Back then, Black Demon had beaten up a mighty warrior from the Eternal Palace. That mighty warrior, Wang Quanzhang, was probably a divine physique realm warrior. He was a terrifying existence that had surpassed the divine core realm. The stronger Ling Xiao became, the more he understood how terrifying Black Demon was. All right, don't be so restrained. I'm a junior, so I'll call both of you big brothers. If I call you uncle, I'll make you sound old. Do you have any objections? Ling Xiao said with a smile on his face. Of course. Young master can call us anything you want. Ancestor Scarlet Flame's tense face finally showed a smile. Zhao Fengyan was still as serious as ever, and he didn't talk much. He just nodded his head in agreement. Young master, you've really broadened my horizons this time. Before you appeared, no mortal core warrior had ever defeated a heavenly core warrior. It had never happened before. Even in the ancient records, it had never happened before. That is to say, even the ancient sages couldn't do it. But you did it. I'm afraid you're the first person in history to do it. Ancestor Scarlet Flame said excitedly, It's not that bad. I just used some small tricks. Just like what Di Tuatian said, it's a little despicable. Ling Xiao knew clearly that even though he had reached the peak mortal core realm, he was still a peak mortal core warrior. But when facing a heavenly core warrior, it was still impossible for him to defeat a heavenly core warrior. He might even need to use some sinister methods. But he didn't care. Those who survived were the mighty warriors. Monster. Even if you're in Golden City, you're still a monster. Zhao Fengyan still didn't talk much. But this praise made even Ling Xiao, who had a thick face, feel embarrassed. Oh, right. Big brother Scarlet Flame. Big brother Zhao. Why are you here in the 3000 Saint City? Isn't the ranking competition 1 month later? Ling Xiao asked. It's changed. It's changed to 3 months later, because something happened in Golden City. Sword Maiden Azure Lotus said, That's why they're here. They also want to announce the ranking of this year's competition. The Fighting Soul Sacred City has perfectly completed their mission, and their ranking is now in the top 500. This is a huge improvement. Before this, they were still in the top 1,000. Also, you, in the individual ranking, you're ranked 10th. This ranking, in addition to the fact that you killed the koi fish earlier, all of a sudden, you became the target that all men in the 3,000 holy cities wanted to defeat the most, because they don't think you're qualified to be the 10th. They all think that you cheated. Forefather Scarlet Flame said disdainfully, if that bunch of trash knew that you even killed D. Tuatian, they would definitely kill you. Then I'm afraid you won't be ranked 10th. But first, in any case, I have never seen any disciple from the 3,000 holy cities who is stronger than D. Tuatian. Those are all empty. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, in my opinion, there is no difference between the 3,000 holy cities. Only by entering the Golden City can it be considered a true holy land for cultivation. Actually, you can't say that. Out of the 3,000 holy cities, the top 3 holy cities were already known as the candidates for the Golden City. Basically, any disciple who is qualified to enter the 3 holy cities would have a great chance of entering the Golden City. I think you should choose one of them to join. As for the Fighting Soul's sacred city, let it fend for itself. Zhao Fengyin said indifferently. You want me to be a deserter too? Ling Xiao smiled. This is not a deserter, it's helplessness. If you stay in the Fighting Soul's sacred city, you will never know how terrifying the top 3 holy cities are. I know you value your feelings, but as long as you become strong enough, no one will dare to bully the Fighting Soul's sacred city. Jiang Nan also advised at this time. Let's not talk about this anymore. Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, there is something more important than this. What else can be more important than this? Azure Lotus Sword Maiden, Forefather Scarlet Flame, Zhao Fengyin, and Jiang Nan were all confused. I want to go to the Heavenly Demon Ghost Realm. Ling Xiao said, why are you going there? That is a terrifying place, and it is much more chaotic than the Golden Heavenly Region. Heroes are divided and wars are endless. I'm not afraid to tell you that Huang Jindi's daughter, Xin Dian, went to the Heavenly Demon Ghost Realm. Azure Lotus Sword Maiden reminded. Then I have to go even more because my sister, Ling Jiao, is there. Ling Xiao gave a brief introduction of Ling Jiao. Such a loyal and righteous woman is really rare. And she is your sister. You must go. Azure Lotus Sword Maiden was the first to change her mind. Forefather Scarlet Flame and Zhao Fengyin had no objections. Azure Lotus Sword Maiden added, how about this? Fengyin will stay in the Fighting Soul Sacred City for the time being. Help Jiang Nan stabilize this place. Scarlet Flame and I will follow young master to the Heavenly Demon Ghost Realm. I want to go too. Zhao Fengyin frowned. One of us has to stay behind to guard the house. And Fengyin, your identity is too special. You are a member of the military. Once you step into the Heavenly Demon Ghost Realm, it will definitely cause a lot of trouble. Azure Lotus Sword Maiden advised. Sigh. All right, I'll listen to you. Zhao Fengyin sighed. He also understood that Azure Lotus Sword Maiden's words made sense. Young master, what about you? Azure Lotus Sword Maiden asked. Naturally, I have no objections. I don't know what sister Jiao's situation is right now. She might face many experts. With you guys following me, I feel more at ease. Ling Xiao laughed. If he had helpers, he naturally had to bring them along. Although they might not be needed, it was still a layer of protection, in case there really was a problem that couldn't be solved. With Azure Lotus Sword Maiden and Scarlet Flame Ancestor working together, most of the problems could be easily solved. It was just that Shan Dian was actually unconscious. He didn't know what had happened. Unfortunately, he wasn't qualified to go to the Golden City yet, so he couldn't help Xin Dian. Fortunately, according to Azure Lotus Sword Maiden, Shen Dian's life wasn't in danger now. It was just that he was unconscious. It was as if he had been cursed. What he needed to do now was to improve his strength as soon as possible. When he was qualified to go to the Golden City, he would be able to help Xin Dian. Let's go. There's still 2 things to announce. After the announcement, let's go to the Heavenly Demon Ghost Realm. Azure Lotus Sword Maiden said. You guys should leave first. I'll get rid of it later. The fewer people who know about our relationship, the better. Ling Xiao thought about it and said, all right, After Azure, Lotus, Sword Maiden, and the others left, Ling Xiao walked over and woke Daisy up first, listening to Ling Xiao's narration of the results. Daisy was sobbing like a baby. But it wasn't sadness, it was touched. Let bygones be bygones. Go and give it to City Lord Jiangnan. No, it should be Holy Lord Jiangnan. Go and apologize to her properly. No matter how she punishes you, take it. Because you did something that no one can forgive, although it's pardonable. But a mistake was a mistake. You should be punished. Do you understand? Ling Xiao reminded. Understood. You can go and do your work first. I need to think about it. Hinajika nodded. Ling Xiao nodded and stepped out of the Holy Lord Palace. At this time, everyone in the Fighting Soul Sacred City had gathered here. Chapter 4096. Greetings, Elder. As soon as Ling Xiao arrived outside, he immediately heard Elder Shanhu's voice. He quietly blended into the crowd and didn't cause too much of a commotion. Although everyone glanced at him, they were all stunned. Their eyes were filled with surprise and confusion. But with Azure, Lotus, Swordswoman, Ancestor Scarlet Flame, and Zhao Fengyun here, they didn't dare to speak carelessly. Azure, Lotus, Swordswoman nodded her head and said, Today I have two things to announce. First, the Fighting Soul Sacred City's assessment has been completed with outstanding results. The Fighting Soul Sacred City's ranking has risen to 496th place. Therefore, the Fighting Soul Sacred City will receive 10 million upper rank spirit stones, an 8th grade Emperor Realm Martial Skill, 10 7th grade Emperor Realm Martial Skills, 106th grade Emperor Realm Martial Skills, 1005th grade Martial Skills, 10,004th grade Martial Skills. In addition, there are also a number of rare pills. Among the 3,000 Sacred City's disciples, the weakest was at the 3rd Heavenly Core Realm. Therefore, the rewarded martial skills were basically all 4th grade Emperor Realm martial skills. As soon as the announcement was made, all the disciples of the Fighting Soul Sacred City cheered. One had to know that the rewards in the past were far from this. It seemed like the higher the ranking of the Sacred City, the higher the reward. Thank you, Elder. Thank you, Huang Jindi. Everyone knelt down and expressed their gratitude. Now that the number of people in the Fighting Soul Sacred City had decreased, these rewards were easier to distribute. Those who stayed behind naturally rejoiced in their hearts. Also, Fighting Soul Sacred City's disciple, Ling Xiao, has reached 10th place in the assessment. He is also rewarded with a Supreme Rank Spirit Stone, an 8th grade Emperor Realm Martial Skill, and a number of rare pills. Supreme Rank Spirit Stone. Hearing these words, everyone was stunned. One must know that the value of a Supreme Spiritual Stone was equivalent to 10 million upper spiritual stones. Many people here had never seen a Supreme Rank Spirit Stone before. It was said that even in the Golden City, there were very few of them. Ling Xiao actually received a Supreme Rank Spirit Stone as a reward. The expressions of envy, jealousy, and hatred in the crowd were simply dazzling. This is for you. Ancestor Scarlet Flame flicked his finger, and a storage ring flew into Ling Xiao's hand. Ling Xiao put the item into the Dongsheng Emperor ring. He just casually glanced at it. Then he discovered that the 8th Order Emperor Grade Martial Skill was actually a peak 8th Order Emperor Grade Martial Skill, although it wasn't like the 12 Divine Beast technique that could be upgraded. But the advantage was that this set of martial skills did not require any materials to cultivate. As long as one reached the 7th Divine Core Realm, they would be able to cultivate it. This would be very helpful for Ling Xiao to protect himself. After all, his martial skills were lagging behind. He couldn't use the 12 Divine Beasts technique all the time, right? That piece of top-grade spirit stone was even more amazing. It was definitely rarer than 10 million high-grade spirit stones. Just by holding it in his hand, he could feel an incomparably powerful force. As for those spirit pills and miraculous medicines, Although they weren't as good as the ones he had refined, they weren't as good. But the most important thing was that they were able to fill their stomachs. It would be even better after he tempered it a little. Next, I will announce the second matter. Zhao Fengyun's voice rang out. Let me tell you some unfortunate news. The Holy Lord of War's Soul Sacred City, Di Tuatian, was killed by the enemy. Not even his bones remain. Just as he said that, the ground below began to shake. It was as if a bomb had been thrown into the crowd. Everyone panicked and fell into chaos. Silence! Zhao Fengyin shouted out loudly. His voice was so terrifying that everyone shut their mouths. Di Tuatian's death is a great loss to the Fighting Soul Sacred City. According to the three of us, the former city lord of Jiangnan Palace, Jiangnan, will replace Di Tuatian. He will be the Saint Lord of the Fighting Soul Sacred City. I don't accept this. Just as Zhao Fengyin finished speaking, someone immediately shouted out from below. This voice came from Xingmeng. As the great elder of the law enforcement palace, Xingmeng's strength was on par with Di Tuatian. If Di Tuatian was dead, then the one who would replace him as the Saint Lord should be him. It's useless even if you don't accept this. This is a decision made by the three of us, but this is only temporary. Later, we will report this to the Golden City. Perhaps the higher-ups will send a Saint Lord from nowhere. You must all be prepared. Zhao Fengyin glanced at Xingmeng with an indifferent expression. Xingmeng didn't accept this decision. It was within his expectations. After all, he would stay and help Jiangnan manage the Fighting Soul Sacred City. He was just a wanderer. It didn't matter where he went. Xingmeng opened his mouth, but in the end he didn't say anything. Firstly, Zhao Fengyin was here. Even if he didn't accept it, it was meaningless. Secondly, as Zhao Fengyin had said, Jiangnan was only a temporary Saint Lord. In the future, the Golden City might send a Saint Lord from nowhere. That was how Di Tuatian came to be. Now that he and Jiangnan were in a heated argument, it was possible that outsiders would take advantage of them. After all, he just didn't accept Jiangnan's strength, but he didn't have any enmity with Jiangnan. Jiangnan, take this storage ring. Ancestor Scarlet Flame gave the sacred city's reward to Jiangnan. Thank you, Elder. Jiangnan took the storage ring and said in a clear voice, Since I, Jiangnan, am the Saint Lord of the Fighting Soul Sacred City, I won't only care about my own disciples. As long as you have talent, if you meet the requirements, you can get the resources you deserve from me. Thank you, Saint Lord. Other than the people from the law enforcement palace, everyone else had accepted their fate. Jiangnan was usually a good person. She was much better than Di Tuatian. If they had to choose, they would naturally choose Jiangnan and not Xingmeng. Xingmeng's nature was no different from Di Tuatian's. They were all jackals of the same tribe. Ling Xiao, this is great. Ling Xiao? Zhan Long had already been released by Ling Xiao from the Dongsheng Emperor. Seeing that Jiangnan had become the Saint Lord, he was about to turn back and enjoy the good news with Ling Xiao. However, he realized that Ling Xiao had disappeared. Zhu Xiaohan, have you seen Ling Xiao? Zhan Long asked curiously. No. Everyone looked at each other. No one knew when. But Ling Xiao had already disappeared without a trace. There's no need to look for him. Ling Xiao received a special mission from the Golden City and went to complete it alone. I'm afraid he won't be back for 2 or 3 months. The ranking battle of the 3,000 sacred cities will be held in 3 months. He won't be absent. Of course. Jiangnan knew what Ling Xiao had done. She had already heard about it when she was in the sacred Lord Palace. However, she didn't expect Ling Xiao to leave in such a hurry without even saying goodbye. All right, we're leaving too. Azure Lotus Swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame tore through the air. Naturally, they were going to chase after Ling Xiao. Zhan Long seemed to have suddenly understood something. He couldn't help but feel envious. Zhan Long, Zhu Xiaohan, Qin Xiuji Hiningdi Hinajiku. The 6 of you will cultivate under my name from now on. It's not considered a master-disciple relationship. Just treat it as a student and teacher. Zhao Fengyin watched Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Azure Lotus Swordswoman leave and named 5 people. These 5 people were all from the same sect as Ling Xiao, who had gone through life and death with the Great River Bandits. Moreover, they dared to support Ling Xiao in front of experts. That was why Ling Xiao asked Zhao Fengyin to take care of them. Among the people who returned from the Great River Bandits, only Chen Yu was not selected. Chen Yu knew the reason. However, she still felt a little lost in her heart. If only I had firmly supported him back then. Chapter 4097. Ling Xiao naturally didn't know Chen Yu's regret. At this time, he had already arrived at Beifeng's strong country with Azure Lotus, Sword Girl, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Because the entrance to the Heavenly Demon Ghost Realm was in Beifeng's strong country. Although he had never been there, Azure, Lotus, Sword Girl, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame had been there. Following Azure, Lotus, Sword Girl, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame, the 3 of them flew towards the entrance of the Heavenly Demon Ghost Realm. They thought that the distance wouldn't be too far, but in fact, after arriving at Beifeng's strong country, they had already flown for a full 3 hours. They still couldn't see where the entrance was. Ling Xiao's understanding of the Heavenly Demon Ghost Realm was just a small world. Sister Azure Lotus, I've always been very confused about something. From the Heavenly Dragon Continent to the Black Tortoise Continent. On the previous 3 continents, there were almost no small worlds like this. Even if there were, they were very small. There had never been such a large number. How did these small worlds form? The journey was boring, so Ling Xiao couldn't help but ask. It's a long story. Long before the mystic world split, this kind of small world had already appeared. Rumor has it that on the day the human king was born, countless meteors fell from the sky. Above the mystic world, almost all creatures thought that the end had come. However, after those meteors fell, they didn't cause any danger. Instead, they formed countless small worlds scattered all over the mystic world. Later, the mystic world split. Many small worlds couldn't withstand the new laws of the mystic world and collapsed, directly turning into nothingness. Almost all the small worlds of the Heavenly Dragon Continent, Divine Phoenix Continent, and White Tiger Continent collapsed. They returned to nothingness. In the future, there should be many small worlds in the Black Tortoise Continent. This is what Master told us. Azure Lotus, Sword Girl, said with a smile, "Do you know how the eternal desert of the 4 great regions was created?" "I don't know." Ling Xiao shook his head. "You may never imagine it. The eternal desert is actually made up of fragments of small worlds. Every grain of sand contained a terrifying amount of spatial energy. Once you step in, most people won't be able to come out alive. The 4 great regions are separated by the eternal desert. Only through a special teleportation array can ordinary people come and go. The eternal desert is a place where only experts can enter." Green Lotus, Swordswoman's words shocked Ling Xiao. That desert was actually caused by the collapse of a small world. This was too terrifying. What about the 9 regions of the 9-star heaven realm? Ling Xiao could not help but ask. The entrances to the 9-star celestial realm are basically at the point of contact between the eternal desert and the 4 great regions. It's extremely dangerous. Forefather Scarlet Flame said with a smile, "Sigh, your big brother has always wanted to go to the eternal desert to explore. He wanted to see what kind of amazing things existed in the eternal desert. It was a pity that he never had the strength to do so. Every time we reach the edge of the eternal desert, we can't withstand the terrifying spatial turbulence." "Brother Chi Hua, do you mean that there is something special in the eternal desert?" Ling Xiao said in surprise. "Of course. Do you think that the 4 great domains are the 4 great domains? In fact, compared to the eternal desert, the 4 great regions and the 9-star celestial realm were just small places, just like how the western region is compared to the entire Black tortoise continent. Forefather Scarlet Flame said with a smile, "I learned this from an ancient book." Oh, right, a few of them came from the mysterious eternal desert. Their names are Su Mingjin, Sunshang Juning, and Sha Hai. It is said that they are master and disciple. They came from the eternal desert. Ling Xiao had seen the 4 people that Forefather Scarlet Flame had mentioned before. When he first saw these 4 people, he knew that these 4 people were even more terrifying than the experts of the small purple spirit kingdom. He did not expect that they would have such a terrifying origin. These 4 people travel around the 4 great domains and the 9-star celestial realm. I don't know what their purpose is. However, every top expert was extremely respectful to them. No one dares to offend them. Forefather Scarlet Flame continued, "How big is this black tortoise continent? I'm really looking forward to it." Ling Xiao suddenly became excited. "Oh, right, is there only one entrance to the heavenly demon realm?" he suddenly asked. "Of course not. There are a total of 9 entrances to the heavenly demon ghost realm. They correspond to the 9 great kingdoms of the heavenly demon ghost realm. However, there are only 2 entrances within the range of our golden heavenly region. This one is located within the range of the Northern Wind Kingdom. It's the closest one to us." Suddenly, Forefather Scarlet Flame stopped talking and looked into the distance. "Be careful. We're close to the eternal desert." When Ling Xiao heard this, he hurriedly looked forward. Everything was gray and hazy. It was as if a terrifying giant beast was lying there, and one could not see the end of it. Before reaching the eternal desert, Ling Xiao already felt a sense of oppression that he had never felt before. Even when facing an expert who was countless times stronger than him, he had never felt this way before. It was as if he was just an ant. This feeling was too shocking. In the past, when he sat on the ground and looked at the stars, he was amazed by the vastness of the starry sky. Now, in this eternal desert, he actually had the same feeling. Could it be that every star was a world? As for the falling meteors, they transformed into numerous worlds. Then they collapsed and became this vast eternal desert. Protect the young master well. Green Lotus, swordswoman, reminded. Then she released her vital essence to help Ling Xiao. Only then did Ling Xiao feel a little better. However, that terrifying aura still made his heart tremble. Looking at the eternal desert, then looking at the golden heavens domain, he felt that the golden heavens domain was like a small island in a stormy ocean. If he didn't have the Tai Chi eye and had a good imagination, he probably couldn't even imagine such a thing. This isn't sand. Finally, they arrived at the eternal desert. Green Lotus, Sword Maiden, and Forefather Scarlet Flame reminded Ling Xiao not to land on the ground, because if he landed, he might never be able to stand up again. The bright sand on the ground was actually a small world. Remember, don't step on it. In fact, in the 4 major regions and the 9 stars realm, there were countless warriors who wanted to explore the secret of the eternal desert. However, only those who went in did not come out. Anyway, the people who went in disappeared. Whether they were dead or not, there was no way to know. Those 4 guys from the eternal desert, if they didn't bring the relics of the seniors who had once gone to the eternal desert to the 4 regions and 9 realms, I'm afraid we wouldn't dare to believe that they came from that mysterious place. Looking at the endless, eternal desert in the distance, Forefather Scarlet Flame's heart was extremely restless. What about my grandfather? He can't step into the eternal desert either? Ling Xiao asked. Of course, Master can. He can even walk out of the black tortoise continent, let alone the eternal desert. He already knew the secret of the eternal desert. He just didn't tell us. That kind of secret is only interesting if we find it ourselves. I will definitely go back after I reach the divine body realm. Forefather Scarlet Flame's eyes flickered with anticipation. Death was scary. Chapter 4098. Just by flying along the edge of the eternal desert, Ling Xiao felt an unprecedented shock. Old ancestor Scarlet Flame's passionate words made him feel emotional and moved. For warriors, when they became stronger, they naturally wanted to face stronger challenges. The eternal desert might really be a good place. Ling Xiao looked into the deep darkness and said, "One day, I will find out the secret of the eternal desert." It's good for young master to have such thoughts, but you still need to increase your cultivation as soon as possible. The eternal desert is a nightmare for people with your cultivation, Sword Maiden Azure Lotus reminded. I understand. Ling Xiao knew that he still had a long way to go, so he was moving forward even more desperately. But we haven't reached the entrance yet? He changed the topic. After all, the eternal desert was too far away. At this stage, it was better to figure out the heavenly demon ghost territory first. Don't worry, with our current speed, we should be able to reach it in 3 hours. Of course, the premise is that we don't encounter any trouble, Sword Maiden Azure Lotus said, while looking around vigilantly. It was as if there was something terrifying in the dark desert. Ling Xiao didn't ask. In fact, he knew after thinking about it. This was the intersection of the eternal desert and the golden sky region. It must be the weakest place of the laws, a place that the golden sky region couldn't control. The chaos here was definitely more terrifying than other places. Even the great river bandits were nothing here. The bandits that lived in this area were the most terrifying. There were also the demonic beasts that could travel through the spatial turbulence in the eternal desert. None of them were easy to deal with. If one was lucky, the bandits or demonic beasts they encountered would be weaker, but it was nothing. If one was unlucky, they would encounter a heavenly core bandit. For Ling Xiao, it was the end of the world. This was the reason why Sword Maiden Azure Lotus and Old Ancestor Scarlet Flame had to protect Ling Xiao. When bandits moved, they would not be alone. They would usually move in groups. Besides the bandits and demonic beasts, the natural conditions here were also terrible. The spatial storms that appeared from time to time gave even Sword Maiden Azure Lotus and Old Ancestor Scarlet Flame a headache. A spatial storm was no ordinary storm. Wherever it passed, the spatial laws would become chaotic. They might not die, but it was very likely that they would be trapped in the turbulent space forever, to die of old age alone. That was even more terrifying than death. Before coming, Ling Xiao had done an in-depth understanding of the situation here. However, when he saw the solemn expressions of Green Lotus, Swordswoman, and Forefather Scarlet Flame, he was shocked. He knew that the actual situation might be more troublesome than what was written in the book. Actually, you don't have to worry. Someone had already concluded a pattern of spatial storms. As long as we discover them in advance and avoid them in time, there won't be much of a problem. Perhaps because she was afraid that Ling Xiao would be worried, Green Lotus Swordswoman explained. Ling Xiao nodded and didn't say anything. In fact, he was more concerned about Ling Jiao, who was in the heavenly fiend ghost trap. Green Lotus Swordswoman and Old Ancestor Scarlet Flame could help him deal with the spatial storms and troubles along the way. But once they reached the heavenly fiend ghost territory, many things would probably go out of control. Perhaps he would have to settle many things himself. Big Sister Qinglian, tell me more about this demonic skeleton. I want to know more. There aren't any detailed records in the book. Ling Xiao suddenly asked. Of course. Green Lotus Swordswoman nodded and said, Scarlet Flame, pay attention to the surrounding situation. An Old Ancestor Scarlet Flame nodded. He, who is usually bold and unrestrained, had become very serious at this moment. Green Lotus Swordswoman looked at Ling Xiao and continued, The 9-star celestial realm is 9 powerful small worlds. It's an existence that's on par with the 4 major regions. But these 13 forces are actually divided into strong and weak. It has to be said that the Eternal Emperor region is the boss of the 13 forces and is the strongest, and our Golden Heavenly region is ranked 4th. It's inferior to the Heaven's Sacred Land and the Savage Beast region. As for this demonic skeleton, Its strength isn't considered strong and can only be ranked ninth, which is considered relatively weak. But you mustn't underestimate the demonic skeleton because of this. One had to know that even the weakest of the 13 forces, the deep sea dragon region, was ridiculously powerful. This kind of ranking is just to pick the cream of the crop. I know. Ling Xiao nodded. All right, then I'll continue. Green Lotus, swordswoman, continued. The strongest of the demonic skeleton is called the Devil Emperor. Like the Eternal Emperor and Yellow Emperor, they're all the strongest of this small world. But the Devil Emperor has a carefree nature. He does as he pleases. As a result, although the demonic skeleton nominally regards him as the supreme, in reality, the Devil Emperor basically doesn't care about anything. Unless it's a matter of life and death, he won't show his face. I'm afraid that in the 4 regions and 9 realms, only those few supreme experts know the Devil Emperor. Devil Emperor, I'll remember it. Ling Xiao was very clear that what Green Lotus swordswoman told him was the key information. Under the Devil Emperor, there are 9 great devil kingdoms. The supreme expert of the Devil Kingdom is the Devil Venerable, and under the Devil Venerable is the Devil King. In the 9 great devil kingdoms, there are quite a number of devil kings. They were either in charge of a sect, or occupy several cities, or the right-hand man of the Devil Venerable. Hearing this, Ling Xiao asked curiously, what level of expert is the Devil King? How many are there? Devil Kings, Devil Venerables, and Devil Emperors are all existences above the divine core realm. There is only 1 Devil Emperor and 9 Devil Venerables. However, the number of Demon Kings is not fixed. According to the investigation results of our Golden Sky region, there are around 100 Devil Kings. On average, there are around 10 Devil Kings in each Devil Kingdom. Some are less, some are more. Green Lotus, swordswoman, answered. What? Hearing this, Ling Xiao was dumbfounded. He thought that experts in the extreme realm of alchemy were already extremely rare. He didn't expect there to be more than 100 warriors above the divine core realm in this demonic skeleton. There were 13 such powerful existences in the Black Tortoise continent. 8 of them were even more frightening than the demonic skeleton. If that was the case, the number of warriors above the divine core realm might be around 2,000 to 3,000 or even more. Sigh, the path of a mighty warrior is still far away. Green Lotus swordswoman let out a sigh. In front of all the warriors from the 3,000 saint cities, she was an unreachable elder of the Golden City. But in fact, only Green Lotus swordswoman knew how tiny she was. Ling Xiao couldn't help but smile bitterly. Even Green Lotus swordswoman was tiny. What did he amount to? Which Devil Kingdom does this entrance belong to? Ling Xiao changed the topic. Fengdu Devil Kingdom. Green Lotus swordswoman answered. Do you still remember that Qi Yaoguang? He is from the Qi family of the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. Is the Qi family very powerful? Of course. In the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, the Qi family is ranked in the top 4. The Qi family's clan chief is a Devil King. Green Lotus swordswoman answered. Chapter 4099. Green Lotus swordswoman said, the Demon King of the Qi family is called Demon King Qi. Qi Yaoguang went to find the Great River Bandits for the Great River Star. The Great River Star is on the seal of the Demon Venerable of the Fengdu Demon Kingdom. He is probably preparing to fight for the position of the Demon Venerable of the Fengdu Demon Kingdom. No wonder Qi Yaoguang didn't let me go to the Sky Devil Ghost region. This Fengdu Demon Kingdom should be very chaotic now, right? Of course, the Demon Venerable of the Fengdu Demon Kingdom couldn't improve his cultivation. Now he has reached the limit of his lifespan. The first reincarnation, the limit of his lifespan is 500 years. If he can't enter the second reincarnation at this age, then he can only accept death. No one can change that. Why is this different from what I heard before? Ling Xiao was puzzled. Then you must have heard wrong. Generally speaking, The lifespan of a martial artist before entering the reincarnation can reach 200 years at most. And the first reincarnation will increase his lifespan by 300 years, reaching the limit of 500 years. As for the future, even we can't say. So, if someone tells you the future information now, it's most likely not reliable. Green Lotus, swordswoman, said. I see. The death of the demon venerable of the Fengdu demon kingdom will definitely lead to a fight for the position of demon venerable. The Qi family is ranked in the top 4, so they will definitely participate. Ling Xiao now had a general understanding of the situation of the Fengdu demon kingdom. In fact, it's not just that. Generally, when the demon venerable dies, he will keep his inheritance. It will be passed down to the next demon venerable. In order to fight for this inheritance, the people below will also fight until their heads bleed. Green Lotus, swordswoman, sighed. Their fight has nothing to do with me. I only care about my sister. Ling Xiao hasn't grown up yet, so he is not in a hurry to invade the territory of the Sky Devil Ghost region. He can't eat a fatty in one go. He must wait until he becomes stronger and then think of a way to unify the 4 regions and 9 worlds. That is the right way. The people in front stopped. Just as the 3 of them were chatting, a group of people suddenly appeared in front of them. There were about 100 of them. Bandits? Ling Xiao frowned. He really hit the jackpot this time. He actually encountered bandits. They are not bandits. Green Lotus, swordswoman, shook her head and said, they should be heavenly demon ghost realm martial artists. An escapee. I wonder what exactly happened in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom for these people to be in such a sorry state. Should we make a move? Ling Xiao asked. After flying for so long, Ling Xiao also wanted to move his hands and feet. Perhaps there's no need. The strength of this group of warriors was not strong. Let's go and take a look. Green Lotus, swordswoman, smiled and said, since they came from the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, then why are they here? Perhaps we can learn something useful from their mouths. As he spoke, the group of people had already rushed over. Kill. This group of martial artists in dire straits were even more direct than bandits. Without saying a word, he made a move. Leave it to me. Ancestor, Scarlet Flame, chuckled. A ball of blazing flame suddenly condensed in his hands. Then he punched out. 100 martial artists were all blasted, flying out. Nearly half of them fell into the eternal desert and were instantly sucked into the spatial turbulence. Ling Xiao was dumbfounded by the sight. This eternal desert was truly incomparably terrifying. He really had to hide a little further away. With just one punch, nearly half of them were killed, and the remaining people were all seriously injured. No one was unscathed or even lightly injured. The leader of the group had already wet his pants. A bunch of idiots. Learn from the bandits. You know how to choose your targets. You idiots! Even if you don't run into my hands today, you will probably die in the hands of others tomorrow. But I'm in a good mood today, so I'll give you a chance to live. Tell me, are you martial artists from the Fengdu Devil Kingdom? Ancestor, Scarlet Flame, asked domineeringly with his hands behind his back. Yes, yes, yes. Everyone hurriedly shouted, scrambling to be the first, as if they were afraid that they would be killed if they spoke too late. Why do you want to escape? Ancestor, Scarlet Flame, asked again. The Fengdu Devil Kingdom is fighting. We are disciples of the Blackfire sect. In the end, the Blackfire sect was destroyed by the Yu family. We had no choice but to escape. Although everyone's voices were very chaotic, Ling Xiao still understood. It's better for you to say it. Everyone else, shut up. Ancestor Scarlet Flame had a headache hearing this, so he appointed the leader of the other party to answer. What Yu family, Blackfire sect, what's going on? Reporting to the hero. There are 7 major forces in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. They are the 3 clans and 4 sects. The Yu family is the family of the deceased demon venerable and belongs to the strongest lineage. There are 2 demon kings in the family. The remaining Qi family, Yang family, and the 4 sects only have one demon king overseeing them. Our Blackfire sect is one of the 4 sections. Unfortunately, our sect master was killed by the experts of the Yu family. The Blackfire sect has been disbanded. The leader replied obediently. In front of Ancestor Scarlet Flame, he didn't dare to lie. Have you heard of a girl called Ling Jiao? Ling Xiao suddenly asked. I don't know, we really don't know. The leader hurriedly shook his head, but from his eyes, Ling Xiao saw signs of lying. Tell me the truth, or you will all die, Ling Xiao said coldly. We know her. Just as he finished speaking, the body of the martial artist suddenly exploded. A terrifying force would bury several martial artists in the vicinity with him. Get lost. Ling Xiao waved his hand, although he didn't know why this mysterious force wanted to hide Ling Jiao's identity. But since he couldn't get anything out of these people, there was no need to keep them. Anyway, he had nothing to lose. Still not getting lost? Ancestor Scarlet Flame waved his hand. He was still willing to listen to Ling Xiao's words. Big brother Scarlet Flame, Sister Qinglian, let's hurry up. I have a feeling that Sister Jiao should have encountered a lot of trouble. Ling Xiao looked at Qinglian's swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame and said, He's loyal and has outstanding talent. When it's time to be ruthless, he won't be lenient. I like young master's personality. Let's go. Ancestor Scarlet Flame smiled and sped up. Not long after, they saw one of the entrances to the heavenly demon ghost territory. It was no different from other teleportation portals, but there were clearly people guarding it. Could it be the Yu family? Ling Xiao frowned. The Yu family obviously wanted to wipe out the other forces in one fell swoop, and then inherit the position of the demon venerable. The 3 of them, outsiders, would probably be stopped as well. Perhaps a fierce battle would be unavoidable. Don't worry too much. It's impossible for the Yu family to guard the entrance at this time, although they are the most powerful force among the 3 clans and 4 religions. But they have no way to fight against the other 6 forces at the same time. What's more, how could the Blackfire sect be destroyed so easily? If you don't remove the roots, it will grow again when the spring breeze blows. The Yu family is probably in a terrible situation now and will definitely not make enemies easily. Qinglian, swordswoman, analyzed. What's there to be afraid of? Even if they want to stop us, we'll just kill them all. Except for the powerhouses above the Demon King level. I'm not afraid of anyone. Ancestor Scarlet Flame was more direct than Qinglian's swordswoman. Chapter 4100. Just as Ling Xiao had expected, there were warriors guarding the entrance of the heavenly demon ghost region, but their quantity and quality were poor. It seemed like after the demon sovereign died, in order to fight for the position of the demon sovereign, they had started fighting amongst themselves. As a result, they had neglected the threats from the outside world. The martial artists guarding the entrance were really not strong. They were only at the divine vein realm. There wasn't even a single divine core warrior. It felt similar to the warriors Ling Xiao met when he first entered the golden heavenly region. There were only 30,000 warriors guarding the entrance. It was said that there used to be more than 1 million warriors here, and there was definitely a devil king guarding the entrance. But now it looked like a mess, let alone a devil king. There wasn't even a single divine core warrior. The chaos gave Ling Xiao and the other 2 a chance to sneak in, but the reality was different from what Ling Xiao had imagined. Ling Xiao planned to sneak in, but Ancestor Scarlet Flame barged in, facing a mighty warrior like him. The 30,000 warriors surrendered without hesitation. They didn't even have the intention to resist. This was not a joke. There wasn't even a single divine core warrior among the 30,000 warriors, even though they couldn't see through Ancestor Scarlet Flame's true cultivation. But they could still feel his terrifying aura. Great God, please spare our lives. We're just trash that was abandoned. Just treat it as a fart. The commander of the defending army cried bitterly as if he was crying for his parents. Shut the hell up. Ancestor Scarlet Flame didn't have the intention to attack. Killing these people was even easier than killing a bunch of ants. It was pointless. When he asked them to shut the hell up, all of them shut their mouths. Now, I'll ask you one question, and you'll answer one question. If anyone dares to lie, I'll send you to hell. Ancestor, Scarlet Flame roared. Yes, yes, yes. We'll answer whatever you ask, great God. We won't hide anything. Everyone nodded their heads. Big Brother Scarlet Flame, let me ask. We have to separate these people so that they won't collude. Ling Xiao stood up. The four-leaf demonic pupil in his right eye opened. 30,000 warriors were controlled at the same time. These were only 30,000 divine Vein Realm cultivators. To Ling Xiao, they were nothing. He could control both at the same time. But if there was a divine core warrior, it wouldn't be so easy. He did not ask any questions. Instead, he directly extracted everyone's memories. Furthermore, he had used his martial spirit barrier to block the aura of the outside world. In order to ensure his safety, he even released part of the power of the Sky Tyrant martial spirit. He strengthened the martial spirit barrier. He then used 4 layers of spirit avoidance talismans. Previously, the ancient martial art practitioner from the Blackfire sect had only wanted to talk about Ling Jiao. Then he would explode and die. That power did not come from the martial artist's body. Instead, it was external. He did this to avoid the same trouble. After a long time, Ling Xiao breathed a sigh of relief. Let's go. Everything is clear now. Ling Xiao stood up and swallowed a pill. His physical strength was rapidly recovering. The 3 of them went through the huge portal. Soon, they arrived at a world that was completely different from the golden skies. Heavenly Devil, Ghost Territory. The environment of the Heavenly Demon Ghost Domain was very gloomy, just as the Ghost Domain had said. All the plants were black as ink. It was emitting an evil aura. The air was filled with a terrifying devil intent. If someone who wasn't a devil cultivator came here, it would be very uncomfortable. However, when Ling Xiao arrived here, he found it very comfortable. The Sky Tyrant martial spirit contained everything. Of course, the most important thing was that he had the heavenly demon bone in his body. Not long after they left, the 30,000 soldiers woke up from the soul catcher state. What happened just now? Someone asked curiously. Something happened, but why can't I remember anything? Another person said, should we report this to the higher-ups? Report my ass. If we don't know anything, we'll be scolded if we report it. Most of the people insisted on this point. Therefore, until now, no one knew that Ling Xiao and the other 2 had entered the Heavenly Demon Ghost Domain. At the same time, Ling Xiao found a secluded place and stopped. He had obtained a lot of useful information from those memories. He needed to discuss his next move, seeing that Ling Xiao's expression didn't look too good. Green Lotus Sword Maiden asked, "Is your sister in trouble?" Ling Xiao nodded and said, "Sister Jiao is not in trouble, but a disaster." Hearing this, Green Lotus Sword Maiden and Ancestor Scarlet Flame were shocked. Disaster? To be able to say this word from Ling Xiao's mouth, it was obvious that the trouble this time was much bigger than they had imagined. What exactly happened? Just tell me straight. We will help you even if we have to risk our lives. Green Lotus Sword Maiden said. Ancestor Scarlet Flame also nodded. This time, following Ling Xiao to the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, the 2 of them didn't plan to return safely. Sister Jiao's current status is very high. It's so high that even I can't understand it, Ling Xiao said with a frown. That's impossible. According to what you said, although Ling Jiao's aptitude is outstanding, it's far inferior to yours. Even if she came to the 4 major regions longer than you, her cultivation is much higher than yours. It's higher than your cultivation. But status isn't something that can be obtained overnight. Green Lotus Sword Maiden frowned and said, unless she has been possessed. She is no longer her, but has become another person. Sister Green Lotus is indeed Sister Green Lotus. You hit the nail on the head. Although the memories of those miscellaneous soldiers are very vague, the information about this is simple and doesn't involve any core secrets. But I can still guess a little. Ling Xiao sighed and said, Sister Jiao Jiao came to the Golden Sky domain with Shen Dian. Later, in an accident, she was taken away by the demon lord of the Fendu Devil Kingdom. She became the direct disciple of the demon lord. Shen Dian went to the heavenly demon ghost realm to find Sister Jiao Jiao. In the end, she didn't expect that she would be cursed and fall into a coma. Princess Shen Dian has always been a person who values friendship and righteousness. It's just that I didn't expect her to have such a touching story with you. Green Lotus Sword Maiden sighed and said, If Ling Jiao Jiao has been possessed, then she might be a shell. Then she would be nothing more than a shell. Only her body belonged to her. Her soul had long become someone else's. If you save her, you can only save a corpse. Do you still want to go? No. Ling Xiao shook his head and said, I was worried that something would happen to Sister Jiao Jiao. I implanted a trace of my consciousness into the depths of her body. If her soul perishes, I will know. But in fact, no such thing happened. Therefore, I suspect that her soul is only sealed in her body. So, as long as I destroy the soul that has possessed her, I can save her. Logically speaking, if it's a possession, one side won't leave behind the other's soul. Forefather Scarlet Flame thought that Ling Xiao was just comforting himself and couldn't help but say, Chapter 40, 101. Big Brother Scarlet Flame, that's true. But Sister Jiao Jiao's situation is different. I've checked her body before. And don't overthink it. I was just checking her talent. I found out that Sister Jiao Jiao has a very special physique. Her body is like a deep sea. It can allow all kinds of mixed energies to enter. It's very useful for the devil race's cultivation. But this deep sea only recognizes Sister Jiao Jiao's soul. The soul snatcher must have left her soul behind to use it as a key. Ling Xiao explained, Now that you mention it, I understand now. What is your sister Jiao Jiao's current cultivation level? Ancestor Scarlet Flame asked curiously. Extreme Core Realm. Ling Xiao answered she's at the perfect 9th level of the Divine Core Realm and is about to step into the Shattered Core Realm. The so-called Shattered Core Realm. When one reached the Extreme Core Realm, the inner core would naturally shatter. The energy would then be absorbed by the body. The Shattered Core Realm didn't have a fixed level. It was a transitional stage. When the body completely absorbed the energy from the inner core, when the warrior naturally stepped into the divine body realm. This is too strong. Ancestor Scarlet Flame couldn't help but reveal a bitter smile. An existence at this level, unless he and Azure Lotus Swordswoman worked together, there was no way they could defeat it. Who is the person who took over the body? Ancestor Scarlet Flame asked. It can't be the Lord Devil himself, right? I've often heard that when those Lord Devils reached the limit of their lifespan, in order to continue living, they would possess someone else's body. Although the success rate was extremely low, the possibility of deceiving the heavens was less than 10%, but they were still willing to try. After all, if they could succeed, they would have an extra 500 years of lifespan. The result would be completely different. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it must be related to the Lord Devil. Ling Xiao thought for a moment and said, But no matter who it was, they dared to hurt his sister Jiao Jiao. He would definitely make that person regret being born in this world. A ruthless look flashed through Ling Xiao's eyes. No matter what method he used, he would make that person pay the price. In this world, there were many people who would add flowers to brocade, but there were very few people who would help him in his hour of need. Ling Jiao Jiao had helped him when he was in his most pain and helpless. He would remember this kindness for the rest of his life. Young master, your sister is our benefactor. We will not stand by and do nothing. However, he absolutely could not be impulsive in this matter. In the face of a strong enemy, if we are slightly rash, we may lose everything. Even his nickname was lost in the process. Understand? The green lotus, swordswoman reminded. Of course I know. Ling Xiao did not let hatred get to his head, because he already knew that it was meaningless to be rash. It would only make him more confused. Let's go. I want to see Qi Yaoguang first. Ling Xiao suddenly said. Why do you want to see that little girl? Green Lotus swordswoman was a bit confused. I forgot to tell you that older sister Jiao Jiao is currently staying with the Yu family. The reason why the Yu family dared to attack other powers so unscrupulously was because of this. It was because they had more than 2 demon kings. Moreover, he also had Ling Jiao Jiao, who could step into the core fragmentation realm at any time. They wanted to deal with the Yu family. He could only work with the Qi clan. Among the 3 clans and 4 sects, I only know people from the Qi clan and the Blackfire sect. Now that the Blackfire sect had been destroyed, they were no longer of much use. But the Qi clan is different. Ling Xiao explained. Young master, you are able to think calmly under such a furious situation. I really admire you. Not bad. It is time to meet Qi Yaoguang. Qi Yaoguang is the number 2 genius of the Qi clan. He is second only to her brother Qi Niming. That Qi Niming is a true genius. You must remember this man's name. He had relied on his own cultivation to reach the frightening mid-9th divine core realm. But young master, your talent is stronger than his. As long as you get the same amount of resources, your overall strength will soon surpass his. Ancestor Scarlet Flame smiled and said, but right now, perhaps we can work with this man. He will become one of our forces. Let's see. Let's meet Qi Yaoguang first. After all, I've killed a warrior from the Qi clan, and I think they still hold a grudge against me. Ling Xiao stood up. Although he said so, his eyes were filled with determination. His goal was simple. He was going to save Ling Jiao Jiao, but he had to use the method properly. Otherwise, he would lose everything. You don't have to worry too much. Possession is just our speculation. As for whether it's true or not, we have to see it with our own eyes. Swordswoman Azure Lotus comforted Ling Xiao, although she knew such comforting words wouldn't work, because the fact that Ling Jiao Jiao had been possessed was a fact. Ling Xiao's mood wasn't that relaxed, because it might involve the Honor Devil, an existence that surpassed the divine core realm. Luckily, the Honor Devil from the Fengdu Devil Kingdom was dead. Even if he possessed Ling Jiao Jiao's body, he wouldn't be able to recover his strength in a short period of time. If he forcefully increased his strength, it would only cause the new body to collapse. There was still a chance. Even if he had to risk his life, he couldn't let Ling Jiao Jiao be a puppet for the rest of her life. Her body was controlled by someone, and her soul was sealed. That kind of torture was worse than death. Even if it was the Honor Devil, he would be willing to sacrifice himself to drag the Honor Devil down from his throne. He, Ling Xiao, was fearless for his family. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. At least Sister Jiao Jiao isn't dead, that's good news. Ling Xiao looked at Swordswoman Azure Lotus and Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Both of them had been worried about him. It's good that you're fine. Young master, you have to understand. Only when you're strong can we solve this problem. Otherwise, everything will be over. Perhaps your sister Ling Jiao Jiao has placed her only hope on you. Swordswoman Azure Lotus gently rubbed Ling Xiao's head and said, Don't disappoint a girl, especially a family member. I'm fine, but you too, Ling Xiao sighed. I thought this time it would at most involve some power similar to the 3,000 sacred cities. I never expected it to involve so many people. Even an existence that surpasses the divine core realm is involved. What I'm worried about the most is that you'll be dragged into this mess. Don't talk about dragging us into this mess. If it wasn't for your grandfather Hong Qi, both of us and that young man Zhao Fengyin would have been dead long ago. We wouldn't have been able to avenge ourselves. Besides, it's not like we don't have any allies this time. If we can ally with the Qi clan, this matter will be easier to handle. Ancestor Scarlet Flame patted Ling Xiao and said, although the strength of the Heavenly Devil Ghost region was not as strong as the Golden Heavenly region, But the demon emperor's personal strength might not be weaker than the golden sovereign. Even if he was no match for the golden sovereign, it would take a long time for the winner to be decided. Therefore, in the heavenly devil ghost region, the danger that Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Swordswoman Azure Lotus faced was no less than Ling Xiao. The people of the heavenly devil ghost region would never show mercy to them just because they were from the Golden City. In fact, Shen Dian was a good example. Shen Dian was the daughter of the Golden Sovereign, but she was still cursed into a coma. Chapter 4102. Ling Xiao, who was on his way, didn't know that the development of the Fengdu Devil Kingdom had already exceeded his expectations. He was looking forward to contacting Qi Yaoguang in private and then forming an alliance with the Qi family to deal with the Yu family, to save Ling Jiaojiao. However, at this moment, the Qi family was facing a disaster. 3 clans and 4 sections. After the Blackfire sect was destroyed, the other 3 sects and the Yang family took the initiative to join the Yu family. A huge alliance was formed. As a result, the Qi family was unlucky. At this moment, in the Qi family's residence, it was densely packed with martial artists. 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside, completely surrounding the place. It was almost impenetrable. Of course, these martial artists were nothing. The key was that there were 6 Demon King level experts in the Yu family's camp. 2 from the Yu family, 1 from the Yang family, and 1 from the other 3 sects. With such a terrifying lineup, even the Qi family couldn't do anything. After all, the Qi family only had 1 Demon King. Even if there was a genius like Qi Niming, it was useless. Before a genius grew up, the effect could be said to be minimal. Accept your fate, Qi Fenghua. Although you are very strong, so strong that the 2 of us aren't your match, even if we join forces. But now that we have 6 people on our side, what can you do? The one who spoke was the Yu family's patriarch, one of the Demon Kings, Yu Tian. The reason why the Yu family chose to attack the Blackfire sect first was that they couldn't afford to provoke the Qi family for the time being. This Qi Fenghua was in existence second only to the Demon Venerable in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. The 2 Demon Kings weren't his match. But everything was different now. Yu Tian, you'd better remember that if you can't destroy my Qi family today, my Qi family will definitely destroy your Yu family in the future. Qi Fenghua looked at Yu Tian coldly and then waved his hand. Kill! There was nothing to say. The enemy had already arrived at their doorstep. Whether they fought or not, they couldn't escape death in the end. Before they died, they had to make the other party pay a price. The martial artists from both sides collided crazily. A great battle that would affect the situation of the Fengdu Devil Kingdom began. At the same time, in the Qi family's secret passage, Qi Niming and Qi Yaoguang were running. Their storage rings contained the key to the Qi family's comeback. In order to take revenge, the Qi family decided to let Qi Niming and Qi Yaoguang escape, leaving behind a glimmer of hope for revenge. Many years ago, this secret passage had been built. Only the upper echelons of the clan knew about the secret passage. The siblings exited the secret passage and fled madly. Oh no, someone is chasing after us. Yao Guang, take the storage ring and flee. Whether you go to another devil nation or the 4 great domains, it's all up to you. But you must remember to live well. Qi Niming looked at the approaching pursuers with a hint of madness in his eyes. Before Ling Jiaojiao appeared, he was the most outstanding genius in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. He didn't want to keep running for his life. Moreover, in order for his sister to escape, he had to attract the pursuers. Brother, I'm not leaving. Qi Yaoguang shook his head desperately. Scram! Otherwise, I'll kill you so that you won't be sullied by others. Qi Niming roared. Qi Yaoguang was stunned. In the end, he gritted his teeth and turned around to leave. Brother, you must survive. Qi Yaoguang entered the dense forest and began his escape. The great river planet did not bring any benefits to the Qi family. Instead, it caused the Yu family to go crazy. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have wanted that thing. In the end, they were too obsessed with it. Thinking about the great river planet, a man suddenly appeared in Qi Yaoguang's mind. Why did I think of him? Qi Yaoguang shook his head with a bitter smile. He's just a 6th divine core warrior. He can't help me much. But I think I know him in Xindian. Xindian has fainted. I can only look for him. With this thought in mind, Qi Yaoguang started running towards the exit of the Golden Sky region. Qi Yaoguang ran for 3 days, although her brother Qi Niming had attracted most of the pursuers away. But some of them still managed to find her. She had to fight every single day. After 3 days, she was completely exhausted. Right now, even a 7th divine core warrior could easily kill her. If it wasn't for the fact that she didn't want her family members to die in vain, and she didn't want to let her brother down, she would have given up. Perhaps she would have given up. Surround her. Don't let her escape. She can't hold on any longer. Once again, Qi Yaoguang was intercepted. Qi Yaoguang's mind was in a daze. After fighting for an hour, he had killed more than a dozen men. Finally, he fell to the ground. While he was in a daze, he saw a man. No way! Why would he come to the heavenly fiend ghost region? I must be seriously injured. I'm hallucinating. Qi Yaoguang finally fainted. Sai, I came here to ask you for help, but you fainted first. Looking at Qi Yaoguang, who had fallen to the ground, Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh. But he couldn't just leave him to die. Qi Yaoguang had helped him during the Great River Bandits mission. Get lost. Looking at the pursuers from the Yu family, Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, they were all small fries. He was too lazy to kill them. Brat, how dare you interfere with the Yu family's business? You're courting death. He didn't want to kill these men, but these men were courting death. Sister Qinglian, sorry for the trouble. Brother Qihua's attack is too eye-catching. You should do it, Ling Xiao said to a dark corner. After that, he went over to check on Qi Yaoguang's condition. What a beautiful girl. How could she be so seriously injured? Sai, consider yourself lucky to have met a good person like me. Feeding a healing pill to Qi Yaoguang, Ling Xiao threw Qi Yaoguang into the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. While at this time, the battle on Qinglian's swordswoman's side already ended. Looks like the Qi family is in trouble. Although they didn't know what exactly happened, they still thought about it. Even Qi Yaoguang had to flee for his life. The Qi family's situation could be imagined. With the 3 of their strength, they could not save the Qi family either. They could only take one step at a time. Go to Bloodpool City. That place is the Qi family's territory. After going there, we should know the situation. Qinglian, swordswoman, suggested. Go. The 3 people continued to hurry along. As for Qi Yaoguang, he stayed in the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. The injuries on his body were seriously too serious. Wanting to recover would probably still take a very long time. A day later, they already arrived at Bloodpool City, although the current situation in Bloodpool City was still considered fine. But from time to time, one could see martial artists killing people on the streets. The killers were all wearing the unique uniform of the Yu family. The ones who were killed should be martial artists related to the Qi family. From this, it could be seen that, apart from a few fish that escaped the net, the majority of the Qi family had already been annihilated. Or perhaps he was captured. Restaurants were always the best place to inquire about information. The 3 people found a restaurant that was still operating normally in Bloodpool City. When they entered, they heard people arguing inside. Only after listening carefully did they know. It turned out that the boss of this restaurant was actually a spy of the Yu family in Bloodpool City. All kinds of information had been passed to the Yu family through here. Chapter 4103. In the past, no one knew the identity of the owner of this restaurant. But after the Yu family destroyed the Qi family, the owner revealed his identity with great fanfare. On one hand, he was proud, and on the other hand, he was afraid of being accidentally injured by the Yu family. Although he knew that this might lead to the Qi family's revenge. But after weighing the pros and cons, it was still worth it. Qi, The person who was shouting in the restaurant was easily killed. Chop him up and feed him to the dogs. The restaurant owner sneered. Now, the entire Fengdu Devil Kingdom belongs to my Yu family. Whoever dares to stand up for the Qi family, I'll kill him. After saying that, the owner left. He left the waiter to take care of the guests. Although Ling Xiao disdained such a person, he was not here to be chivalrous. He was here to inquire about information. There were quite a lot of people in the restaurant. It was noisy and they were all talking about what had happened recently. No one paid any attention to them. After the waiter came over, Ling Xiao ordered a few dishes to go with wine. As he ate, he began to listen to the discussions around him. Sai, it's really tragic. It said that the Qi family almost died overnight. A few fish that escaped the net are being hunted down. Yeah, when the demon venerable was still around, he didn't make a move against the Qi family. Now that the demon venerable has just passed away, the Qi family is being targeted. I don't know why. In fact, Ling Xiao was also very surprised by this question. Could it be that the one who possessed Ling Jiaojiao wasn't the demon venerable? Is Qi Fenghua also dead? Dead. Although Qi Fenghua is known as the #1 person below the demon venerable and the most powerful demon king, there are 5 demon kings. How can he not die when there are 5 demon kings? But I didn't see his corpse. With the Yu family's habits, if they really killed Qi Fenghua, they would definitely show it to the public. It said that he was blown to pieces. It said, can it be true? I don't know if Qi Fenghua is dead or not. But Qi Yaoguang and Qi Niming are still alive. The Yu family has already offered a huge reward. Let's not do such a wicked thing. The Qi family has been good to us. Even if we can't help, we shouldn't bite the hand that feeds us. Shou, lower your voice. The walls have ears. What I said is the truth. You guys probably don't know, but Qi Niming and Qi Yaoguang, this pair of genius siblings, have given the Yu family a lot of headaches. It was rumored that the 6 demon kings were injured in the battle with Qi Fenghua and would not be able to fight for a short period of time. Thus, many experts were sent to pursue the siblings. However, most of the people who were sent out were killed without any news. If the Yu family can't get rid of them completely, I'm afraid that they'll be in trouble in the future. Just as this person finished speaking, a cold light suddenly shot out of nowhere. It was nailed between the man's eyebrows. Although the person who spoke wasn't dead yet, he could feel his life force rapidly depleting. Qi Niming and Qi Yaoguang, these 2 idiots, ants not even worth mentioning, actually dared to say that my Yu family is going to be unlucky? Since you don't know how to keep your mouth shut, then this lady will teach you how to keep your mouth shut. As he spoke, a woman floated down from the 2nd floor. She was about 16 or 17 years old. His age was similar to Qi Yaoguang's, but his cultivation was far weaker than Qi Yaoguang's. He was only at the late 7th divine core realm. Qi Yaoguang was an 8th divine core warrior. This woman's cultivation wasn't that great, but her temper wasn't small. Just because someone said that Qi Niming and Qi Yaoguang would become a threat to the Yu family, she wanted to kill them. She was really vicious. I was just telling the truth. And you actually killed me. These were the man's last words. After saying that, his eyebrows suddenly exploded and he fell to the ground. Soon after, he stopped breathing. Looking at this scene, Ling Xiao didn't want to poke his nose into other people's business. Instead, he looked at Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Sword Maiden Green Lotus. He said helplessly, "Looks like we're right. The Qi family has been eliminated by the Yu family. The power struggle between the heavenly demon Qi family is really brutal. It's really amazing. Not just the heavenly demon Qi family. The same goes for the 3,000 saint cities. When a saint city is destroyed, the people in that city will be implicated." Sword Maiden Green Lotus sighed and said, "This is the world of warriors. It's much crueler than the world of mortals." Just as she finished speaking, a cold light suddenly shot over, but this time it didn't hit anyone. It was gently flicked by the innocent girl, and the cold light fell to the ground. It was actually a silver needle. Their voices were very soft, but it was still heard by the people of the Yu family. Didn't you hear what I said? How dare you mention the Qi family? The girl said coldly. Don't think that you can behave atrociously just because you're strong. This is now the territory of my Yu family. Miss, aren't you a bit too vicious? I just mentioned the Qi family and you want to kill people? Ling Xiao frowned. So what if I kill you? Anyone who dares to mention the Qi family must die. The Qi family should be despised forever, covered by the dust of history. The girl sneered. Okay, we know we won't mention it. Because he had just arrived and had to act in secret, Ling Xiao didn't want to provoke trouble. Humph, don't mention it just because you said so. Since you've already spoken, don't think about leaving safely. I now suspect that you are the remnants of the Qi family. Men, capture these 3 people. Following the girl's order, another 4 men jumped down from the 2nd floor. These 4 men were all peak 7th divine core warriors. They looked like the girl's bodyguards. It seemed like this girl's background wasn't simple. Forgive people whenever you can. Don't cause trouble for yourself. Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. He didn't want to cause any trouble, but the girl didn't want to let him go. With his violent temper, there was no way he could let this matter end peacefully. Swoosh! A sword energy shot out from Ling Xiao's fingertip. It easily cut off a strand of the girl's hair. The 4 bodyguards were shocked, and they quickly protected the girl. How dare you attack me? The girl was furious. So what? You have 3 breaths of time to get the hell out of here, or else I'll kill you. Ling Xiao said coldly. You're courting death. The girl's expression was gloomy. She raised both of her hands and shot out dozens of silver needles. Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. Then he instantly transformed into his divine frost dragon beast soul form. An icy cold energy was unleashed from his body. In just an instant, the dozens of silver needles were frozen. Then they all fell to the ground. They turned into ice chips. Freezing dragon breath. After that, Ling Xiao opened his mouth and spat out. An extremely cold energy burst out from his mouth. The 4 bodyguards were shocked, and they quickly jumped out. They blocked the terrifying cold energy for the girl. However, all 4 of them were instantly frozen into ice sculptures, although they quickly broke free from the cold energy. However, everyone's expression was very ugly. Young lady, step back. This guy is strange. I think he's a beast god warrior. Beast god warriors were extremely rare, and whenever they appeared, they would immediately attract the attention of other warriors. Of course, Ling Xiao was the same. You're quite knowledgeable. I can't believe you can recognize a beast god warrior. Ling Xiao glanced at the restaurant owner who was watching from the 2nd floor, and he sneered in his mind. It looked like he had no choice but to make a big fuss today. He had planned to destroy the Yu family anyway, and vent his anger for his sister, Ling Jiaojiao. Chapter 4104. You really dared to attack me. The girl's face was filled with disbelief. Now that the Yu family was in power, who dared to not give them face in Bloodpool City? However, this kid in front of her did not know what was good for him and actually attacked her. He even injured her bodyguard. Ling Xiao smiled disdainfully. His face suddenly turned cold, and he took a step forward. An even colder aura spread in the air. The wine on many people's tables froze because of this. The diners were afraid of implicating themselves, so they all moved away. However, they did not go far. They all watched this scene with interest. The Yu family was in power, but they were too much of a bully. It was time for someone to stand up and teach the Yu family a lesson. So what if I attacked you? Is the Yu family that great? Is it so great that you can kill me? But I can't even fight back? Ling Xiao showed a mocking expression. These arrogant people seemed to think that they could bully others at will because they were in power in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, and others did not even have the right to attack. Just how ignorant was he? As the saying went, even a rabbit would bite when cornered, let alone a human. However, the girl did not seem to understand his words. She suddenly smiled disdainfully and the original panic in her eyes disappeared. Ling Xiao knew that the owner of this restaurant must have given her courage. The owner was an expert, and Ling Xiao knew this very well. The girl was even more clear. Therefore, the girl did it again. She stood up and said, "You should be an outsider. You really don't understand how scary the Yu family is. Do you believe that I will cut you into 8 pieces today and then wrap you into buns? I really don't believe it." Ling Xiao smiled disdainfully and took another step forward. An even colder aura blew, as if winter had arrived. "I don't know if the Yu family is great or not, but I know that you are a piece of trash. In front of me, you don't even have the right to speak. You actually attacked me." As Ling Xiao spoke, his palms gathered even more powerful cold air. Then he suddenly blasted it out. He did not use any martial techniques, and only used the strength of his body and the power of the frost divine dragon to attack. But it was still very powerful. In the air, it was as if a divine dragon was roaring. The 4 bodyguards were scared out of their wits. He hurriedly defended with all his might. If the previous frost dragon breath only froze the target. If that was the case, then this palm strike could really kill. In the bone-chilling wind, the diners secretly gave Ling Xiao a thumbs up. She was truly a newborn calf that wasn't afraid of the tiger. She even dared to touch someone from the Yu family. He didn't care about the consequences at all. Scram! Facing the 4 bodyguards, Ling Xiao angrily roared, and an even more ferocious aura entered his palms. For consecutive palm prints blasted out. The 4 bodyguards couldn't stop him at all. His body was sent flying, and he froze in midair. When he fell to the ground, he was already seriously injured. This scene caused everyone to be shocked. Looking at this young man, he didn't look very old. He was probably around 18 years old. How could it be so terrifying that it could instantly force back 4 perfect 7th divine core warriors? He was definitely a genius, but he didn't know where he came from. Judging from their methods, they shouldn't be from the heavenly demon ghost horde. A beast god warrior was indeed frightening. In fact, in Ling Xiao's opinion, those 4 bodyguards were too weak. They were all at the perfect 7th divine core realm, but their combat strength was far weaker than Lu Qingmeng's. He really didn't know how they cultivated. It was said that although a demonic cultivator could cultivate very quickly, their foundation wasn't stable, and they couldn't defeat ordinary warriors at the same cultivation level. They couldn't even compare with the geniuses outside. Today, Ling Xiao finally believed it. Chasing after cultivation, speed wasn't a good idea. The young girl was so scared that her face turned pale. However, when she remembered that the owner of the restaurant was still there, she let out a sigh of relief. But Ling Xiao's strength still surprised her. Although his cultivation level didn't seem high, his combat strength had shocked her. "Trash! Didn't you want to chop me into pieces and wrap me up? I'm standing right in front of you. Why don't you do it?" Ling Xiao's voice was extremely cold. He never liked to stir up trouble, but he would never swallow his anger. Someone was trying to kill him. How could he not even dare to fart? That wasn't his style. Towards this kind of arrogant and condescending woman, he had no choice but to accept it. It was useless to say anything. The weaker you were, the more she would take advantage of you. The only thing he could do was to fight violence with violence. A strong counterattack. "Stop! I'm afraid you still don't know who I am." The young girl swallowed her saliva, took 2 steps back, and said loudly, if she had known earlier, she would have asked her family to send a few more bodyguards to protect her. No, the number of people wasn't a problem. The key was that the bodyguards were too weak. But she had done this before, and no one dared to do anything to her. Who would have thought that she would meet such a rash person like Ling Xiao today? "Oh, then may I ask who you are?" Ling Xiao said sarcastically, "Don't tell me you're the daughter of the Demon Emperor Wu? If the Demon Emperor had such a trash daughter like you, he would be angered to death. It's fine if you're just trash, but the key point is that trash likes to bully and kill people. I really don't know how your brain works. You really don't know how to write the word death." "What a joke! Who dares to kill me?" As long as you're in this Fengdu devil kingdom, my father can make your head fall to the ground with just a word. The young girl was choked by Ling Zhao's words, but she still stubbornly showed off her family background. Is that so? Then I really want to give it a try. Let's see if your father really has this ability. Ling Xiao was originally a daring person. He had done this kind of thing before, and it wasn't the first time or two. Want to scare him? Not a chance. You dare. If you take another step forward, this young miss will make your head separate from your body. The young girl was really frightened. Why did she meet such a stubborn guy? She couldn't scare him. He was simply a madman. This kind of bullshit, you've said it more than once. Since you want to kill me, then I'll kill you first. This is very fair, right? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His smile made the young girl's hair stand on end. As he spoke, his hands turned into dragon claws. The cold light reflected in the young girl's eyes. It was as if she saw the arrival of the god of death. Save me! The young girl was finally scared. She exclaimed. Stop! Following the young girl's voice, a person fell from the second floor. It was the owner of this restaurant. His body was fat like a moving ball. Seeing the owner of this restaurant, the diners felt some contempt in their hearts. But no one dared to say a word, because the owner of this restaurant was very strong. They couldn't afford to offend him at all. That young man is going to be unlucky. Everyone couldn't help but secretly shake their heads. Sure enough, it was really unwise to go against the Yu family now, although they sympathized with Ling Xiao. But the Yu family was the Yu family. That young girl's identity was special, so the owner of the restaurant could not do anything. If this young girl died, the owner of the restaurant would be in trouble. Ling Xiao turned his head to look at the fat ball. Chapter 4105. This fat ball had been watching from the second floor. Ling Xiao had known about this for a long time. Therefore, there was nothing strange about it. What's wrong? Didn't I pay for my meal? Or are you going to give me a few more side dishes? Ling Xiao asked with a smile on his face. Looking at Ling Xiao's expression, the restaurant owner was a little surprised. He was an early 8th divine core warrior. This young man was only at the peak 6th divine core realm. Even a beast god warrior was just a piece of trash in front of him. Why wasn't he afraid of him? Both Azure, Lotus, Sword Girl, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame were hiding their auras. That was why he couldn't see through them. Therefore, he didn't notice. After a brief moment of surprise, the restaurant owner said with a cold voice, "Break your own arms and get the hell out of here!" The restaurant owner's tone was really domineering. It was exactly the same as the young girl. He wasn't trying to stop the fight. He was trying to get back at the young girl. Breaking his arms is too easy for him. We should kill him, the young girl shouted, as if she had found a helper and a backbone. The young girl's fear instantly turned into hatred. Break your own arms? Fatty, is there something wrong with your head? You want to break your own arms just because I ate some food? Do you believe that I won't burn down your restaurant? Ling Xiao sneered. The restaurant owner furrowed his brows. What an arrogant young man. How dare he act so arrogantly in front of him? All the customers were surprised as well. This young man was really something. He dared to speak like this in front of the restaurant owner. He was a madman. I just wanted you to break your own arms and get the hell out of here. I didn't expect you to be so courting death. Looks like I'll have to kill you. The restaurant owner's expression didn't look good. In front of his master, a dog like him had to do his best. Kill me? Then I'm afraid you'll have to wait. I'll have to kill her first. Ling Xiao pointed at the young girl and said, "With me here, you can't kill her." The restaurant owner was very confident. Is that so? That's not necessarily true. After finishing his words, Ling Xiao suddenly disappeared. In front of everyone, right in front of the fatty, he pierced the girl's throat with his finger. The young girl crashed to the ground, her eyes still filled with shock and disbelief. Silence. The restaurant became deathly silent. Everyone's eyes fell on the girl who had fallen down. The dark red spot on the girl's throat was too obvious. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao would actually make a move. Moreover, it was done in the presence of the fat restaurant owner. He wasn't just attacking the young girl. It was a slap to the restaurant owner's face. He had slapped the Yu family in the face. How shocking! The girl's aura had become extremely weak, although his Naiden had yet to shatter. However, the cold aura had already invaded her inner core and started to resplendent her inner core. At this moment, she was filled with terror and shock. She was the eldest daughter of the Yu family. She was the daughter of the current head of the Yu family. The patriarch of the Yu family was a demon king. Today, someone actually dared to kill her. Furthermore, she could feel her soul gradually weakening. Bastard! The restaurant owner finally made his move. Then he blasted a palm at Ling Xiao from behind. However, Ling Xiao was nowhere to be seen. The restaurant owner's palm landed on the young girl's body. The young girl's body shattered into pieces. Her death was hastened. So you want to kill her as well? You should have told me earlier. Then I wouldn't have had to do it. Ling Xiao's mocking voice sounded out once again. The restaurant owner's fat body kept trembling. He was obviously extremely angry. Men, chop this young man into pieces and feed him to the dogs. The restaurant owner obviously felt that he wouldn't be able to catch Ling Xiao by himself. But almost all the waiters in his restaurant were strong warriors. None of them were lower than the 6th divine core realm. As he gave the order, Li Yundong's expression changed. More than 10 people jumped out in a flurry. Just as Ling Xiao was about to make his move, he suddenly returned to his seat. "Young man, are you scared?" Seeing this, the restaurant owner was puzzled. Right at this moment, a sword beam pierced through the restaurant's wall and flew toward the restaurant owner. The restaurant owner carefully dodged the attack, but it was useless. The sword beam was too fast. It was unbelievably fast. In just a split second, the restaurant owner's heart was pierced through, and he was nailed onto the wall. Blood flowed down the wall. The scene was quite shocking. The man is an extreme core realm warrior. Ancestor Scarlet Flame lowered his voice and said, "He doesn't seem to be an enemy. I think he has a grudge against the Yu family." Sword Maiden Azure Lotus analyzed. Ling Xiao nodded his head. He also felt that these two men were right. This man's sword attack was obviously meant to kill the restaurant owner. While they were talking, the sword beam suddenly exploded. The rest of the restaurant's waiters were all killed. None of them were left alive. The diners were all shocked by the scene. This sword energy was too frightening. Ling Xiao didn't think he would be able to block it. The attack of an extreme core realm warrior was really frightening. "It's Qi Niming." Someone recognized the man who attacked with the sword. The man was holding a long sword, and he looked very weak. He also had many wounds on his body. "Isn't Qi Niming Qi Yaoguang's brother?" Ling Xiao thought to himself. Although he had no friendship with Qi Niming, because the enemy was the Yu family, allies were necessary. If he could help Qi Niming, it would be a good thing for him. Just as he was thinking, Qi Niming's expression changed, and he jumped into the distance. He was obviously flustered. After a while, 3 figures chased after him. Each of the 3 figures was a powerhouse of the extreme realm of core, although they were not as strong as Qi Niming individually. But if the 3 of them joined forces, they could take Qi Niming's life. And Qi Niming was obviously too tired. In order to distract the pursuers, he had fought countless times and was about to run out of energy. This person is worth saving. Ling Xiao's intuition told him that Qi Niming was definitely a friend that he could make. "Young master, do you want to chase after him?" Sword Maiden Azure Lotus asked. "Let's go and take a look first. After ensuring the safety of the 2 of you, we can save him. If the danger is too great, then forget it." Ling Xiao didn't want to put Sword Maiden Azure Lotus and Ancestor Scarlet Flame in danger because of saving Qi Niming. "Ha ha ha. Thank you for your concern, young master. But don't worry, although the three people chasing after Qi Niming are powerful. But they are definitely not a match for the two of us. Ancestor Scarlet Flame was in a good mood. The main thing was that Ling Xiao could still consider his safety at this time. This made him very touched. In fact, if Ling Xiao ordered him to chase, he would also go. But his mood was naturally different. You guys go first. I'll be there soon. Ling Xiao knew that it was meaningless for him to catch up. After all, his current strength was not enough to intervene in the battle of extreme core realm warriors. It was really great to be able to meet Sword Maiden Azure Lotus and Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Thank you. Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you for leaving me such a precious treasure. Ling Xiao watched as Sword Maiden Azure Lotus and Ancestor Scarlet Flame flew away. Then he looked at the crowd and said, "Go out." The diners didn't dare to refuse and walked out of the restaurant. Chapter 4106. The entire restaurant was burned to ashes in a sea of fire. As for the girl and the restaurant owner, there was no evidence. Seeing the situation here, many people in Bloodpool City revealed excited and hateful expressions. That kind of trash should have been killed long ago. How satisfying. Although they hated the restaurant owner, they didn't have the strength to go against him. Now someone did it. They were naturally happy. After destroying the restaurant, Ling Xiao chased after Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Green Lotus Swordswoman. In order to not attract attention, he chose the Shadow Warrior form. Not only was it safe to chase in the dark, but it could also help at critical moments. The Tai Chi eye could already see the scene a mile away. After all, Qi Niming was already tired. Although his injuries weren't too serious, he was facing the siege of 3 extreme core realm experts. He still felt very uncomfortable. At this moment, Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Green Lotus Swordswoman were still some distance away. However, as long as there were no other accidents, it wouldn't be a problem to catch up. What is this place? Suddenly, Qi Yaoguang woke up in the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. She felt her brother's aura. That was why she woke up early. "Oh, you're awake?" Ling Xiao smiled and said, "This is the space of my Dongsheng Emperor's Ring. Lass, you are lucky. Otherwise, you would have died long ago." "It's really you." Qi Yaoguang couldn't believe her ears. Before she fainted, she thought that what she saw was just an illusion. She didn't expect it to be true. Ling Xiao actually came to the Heavenly Fiend ghost territory and saved her. This was simply like a dream. She could feel that Ling Xiao's strength was stronger than when he was in the Great River Underground City. They had only been separated for a few days, and he had changed so much. She didn't dare to recognize him. "Oh right, my brother." Qi Yaoguang suddenly felt her brother's aura again. It was very weak. "Don't worry. Sister Green Lotus and Brother Scarlet Flame will save him. What you need to do now is to recuperate in peace." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "Thank you." Qi Yaoguang really didn't know what to say. She was really lucky. She made the right choice back then. If he had offended Ling Xiao back then, it would have been difficult for him to escape this time. "What are you thanking me for? I still need your help." Ling Xiao didn't elaborate. After all, it wasn't the right time to talk. On the other side, it was clear that the experts of the Yu family had also felt the auras of Forefather Scarlet Flame and Green Lotus Swordswoman. The battle stopped for a moment. They vigilantly looked in the direction where Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Sword Maiden Green Lotus were flying from. Qi Niming didn't escape either. With his current strength, he wouldn't be able to escape. He might as well make the best use of his time to recover. "Who is it? How can he be so powerful?" One of the martial artists frowned. "I'm not sure, but you can ask first. Right now, our Yu family is unifying the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. Don't make too many enemies." Another person said, "What's there to be afraid of? No matter who it is, just kill them. When has our Yu family ever been afraid of others?" The third person was obviously a bit rash. Qi Niming also looked into the distance. His brows furrowed. He didn't know who it was. However, he really couldn't think of anyone who would help him at this time. His Qi family's forces were almost uprooted by the Yu family overnight. If someone really came to save him at this time, even if Qi Niming had to work like a horse, he would repay the favor. Of course, he had to take revenge for the Qi family first. The three men in front of him were extremely terrifying. They were all elders of the Yu family, 3 early 9th level divine core warriors. Although he was a mid-9th level divine core warrior, he had been fighting crazily for 4 days and 4 nights. He hadn't rested for even a minute. He was too tired. He was no match for these 3 men. Of course, he hadn't wasted these 4 days and 4 nights. Quite a few extreme core warriors from the Yu family were killed by him. It could be considered as him venting out a part of his resentment. However, the Yu family was too powerful. Plus, the Yang family and the other 3 sects worked together. The men he killed were just a drop in the bucket. It was meaningless. The only way to make the Yu family decline was to destroy the 2 demon kings of the Yu family. Then he would kill Ling Jiaojiao, who had recently risen to power. However, no matter how much of a genius Qi Niming was, his strength was still limited. Facing such a powerful opponent, he was exhausted. Today might be his doomsday. The sword in his hand had been completely dyed red. The bloody killing intent kept roaring out. No one knew how many men he had killed. "Kid, no one can save you today. Don't even think about it." One of the 3 men sneered disdainfully. "Although you're strong, you're still weak. You've been hit by my demonic blood palm. Your meridians are damaged. Your inner core is damaged. In this world, no one can help you. Even the Devil Emperor himself can't heal your damaged meridians. Your life is over. There's no use running away." Qi Niming's eyes were filled with coldness and helplessness. So what if he was a genius? He was still too young. It was impossible for the Qi family to make a comeback. But he wasn't willing to die like this. If he died like this, even if he went to hell, he wouldn't be able to answer to his dead family. "I hope my sister has escaped from the heavenly devil ghost region. If that's the case, I can feel a bit more at ease." Qi Niming let out a bitter laugh. He was still unwilling to give up after fighting for so long, but the reality was very cruel. Even a genius like him couldn't think of any way to reverse the situation. The demonic blood palm was too terrifying. It was a very insidious martial art. Although one wouldn't die immediately after being hit by the demonic blood palm, if one couldn't force out the poison within a day, then it would never be possible. He had witnessed with his own eyes the scene of a peerless genius being turned into trash by the demonic blood palm and finally committing suicide with hatred. He didn't expect that today he would have to walk the same old path. It was really sad and lamentable. "Stop! Who dares to disturb the Yu family's business?" One of the 3 elders of the Yu family shouted with an ashen face. This person was the most reckless one. As he spoke, a terrifying aura was released. He tried to intimidate the 2 people flying over. Because ancestors Scarlet Flame and Green Lotus Swordswoman didn't release their true aura, they didn't know how terrifying the 2 people flying over were. So terrifying. Ling Xiao was still far away, and the green-faced elder's aura had been weakened by ancestor Scarlet Flame and Green Lotus Swordswoman. But when it came head-on, Ling Xiao still felt an irresistible terror. Blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. The gap is too big. The extreme core realm is really terrifying. This is only the early stage of the extreme core realm. If it's the peak core realm, how terrifying would it be? What about the core-shattering realm? What about the divine body realm? It's really unimaginable. Ling Xiao had never felt that he was strong. But when he saw such a terrifying existence, he still smiled bitterly. His efforts were far from enough. Chapter 4107. Are you all right? Qi Yaoguang asked with concern. "Don't worry, it's just a small injury." It was indeed a small injury. With the strength of his physical body, he would quickly recover. "Big brother Qi Hua, sister Qinglian, can you deal with it?" "I still say the same thing. If you are in danger, then don't save me." Ling Xiao sent a soul message to the two in front of him. Don't worry, young master. We know our situation. These three old fellows are no match for us. But you, be careful. These three guys have strong auras. Be careful not to get hurt. Ancestor Qi, Hua reminded. It's fine as long as you guys are fine. I can still hold on. Ling Xiao wasn't paying attention just now, so he got hurt. In fact, it wasn't that easy for an extreme core realm powerhouse to hurt him with aura. Soon, Ancestor Qi Hua and Qinglian swordswoman had arrived near them. Then, they stood dozens of meters away. As for Ling Xiao, he took a detour from the side and quietly hid in the darkness. He didn't get close, although the shadow dancer could hide all auras. But he had never tried it in front of an extreme core realm powerhouse. If he was discovered, it would be terrible. So he stayed very far away, a full 1,000 meters away, with the aura of Ancestor Qi Hua and Qinglian swordswoman. The other party definitely couldn't detect him. The green-faced old man looked at Ancestor Qi Hua and Qinglian swordswoman and said coldly, "You are not from the heavenly fiend ghost realm. Are you from the golden heavens domain? Forget it, no matter who you are, if you leave now, you can still live. Otherwise, he would die here. Our Yu family is not something you can provoke." Although this person was very reckless, the other two had a certain influence on him. So he didn't directly attack. Instead, he threatened. Unfortunately, Ancestor Qi, who didn't pay attention to him at all. Instead, he looked at Qinglian swordswoman and said, "You block them. I'll go save her." Okay. Qinglian swordswoman nodded. She really didn't care about the three people in front of her. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't want to cause too much of a commotion, he would have killed these three people. Now that Ling Jiaojiao's situation was unknown, he didn't know if it was caused by the Yu family. They didn't want to kill him, otherwise it would be awkward if they killed the wrong person. As for the enmity between the Yu and Qi families, it had nothing to do with them. The two of them stopped their discussion. Forefather Scarlet Flame suddenly pounced towards Qi Niming. "Brat, don't resist. I'm here to save you." As he spoke, Forefather Scarlet Flame had already arrived in front of Qi Niming. The three people from the Yu family were shocked when they saw this. They didn't expect these two experts to come to help Qi Niming. They were furious and attacked Forefather Scarlet Flame at the same time. Unfortunately, a sword light pierced through the sky. He actually managed to stop all three of them. "Your opponent is me." Green Lotus swordswoman revealed a smile. "I'm sorry, but that brat is somewhat related to us. If you're willing to let him go, we don't have to fight." In your dreams, the green-faced old man's face froze. He knew how terrifying the Green Lotus swordswoman was. Therefore, he looked at the two people behind him and said, "There's no need to hesitate. Let's use the talismans that the patriarch gave us." "All right." The three of them responded. Everyone took out a talisman. The three spirits fused into one. They released a thick, pitch-black fog. Green Lotus swordswoman frowned and hurriedly said, "Scarlet Flame, quickly throw him out. Young master will think of a way to deal with the rest. The talismans of these three guys are very strange. I'm afraid there will be trouble. Let young master take him away." These words were spoken extremely quickly. In fact, before she finished speaking, Forefather Scarlet Flame already knew what she meant. He had already thrown Qi Niming out. He landed right beside Ling Xiao. At this moment, the talisman had already released a terrifying power. A majestic and shocking aura descended from the sky. It was as if the sky had collapsed, causing people to feel extremely shocked. "Oh no, it's the dark explosion. Young master, leave quickly. We'll be fine." Forefather Scarlet Flame transmitted his voice. Under this dark explosion, they couldn't protect Ling Xiao at all. They could only let Ling Xiao leave. Ling Xiao threw Qi Niming into the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. He didn't leave immediately. The dark explosion was too terrifying. He had also heard of it. With Green Lotus swordswoman and Forefather Scarlet Flame, they probably wouldn't be able to resist it. Even if he had to leave, he had to do something. In the form of a shadow warrior, Ling Xiao quickly rushed behind the three people. He suddenly took out the East Victory Sky Sword. The sword pierced into the body of one of them. Originally, this dark explosion required 3 talismans and 3 martial artists to use them at the same time to erupt with all their energy. However, one of them was stabbed by the East Victory Sky Sword. The power of one of the talismans instantly weakened. The dark explosion wasn't completely formed. That's good. Retreat. Ling Xiao could only do so much. He immediately left with one strike. He used the Golden Light technique and escaped. As for Forefather Scarlet Flame and Green Lotus Swordswoman, they might be injured under the incomplete dark explosion, but they definitely wouldn't die. He was sure of this. He would only be a burden if he stayed there. Damn thief, I won't let you off. Even though the elders of the Yu family roared with all their might. But it was of no use. Ling Xiao had long since disappeared without a trace, and he didn't see Ling Xiao's appearance clearly just now. It's safe here. Somewhere it was desolate. However, Ling Xiao still set up a concealment array around him. Then he released Qi Yaoguang and Qi Niming. Thank you, young hero, for saving my life. I, Qi Niming, will never forget your great kindness. Qi Niming knelt on one knee and was grateful to Ling Xiao. To be honest, he didn't expect anyone to come and save him. He really had to thank Ling Xiao for being able to survive. Get up. I'm only helping you because of your sister. Ling Xiao looked at Qi Niming. This person knew how to be grateful. He didn't save him in vain. Thank you. Qi Niming stood up, but he was very confused and shocked. This was because he had personally heard the 2 terrifying powerhouses address Ling Xiao as young master. With such powerful subordinates, Ling Xiao's identity must be extraordinary. But he was too embarrassed to ask. Ling Xiao, I really have to thank you. If it weren't for you this time, we would have died in the hands of the Yu family. Qi Yaoguang also said, let's put it this way. I saved you guys for selfish reasons. I hope I can join forces with you to save my sister, Ling Jiaojiao, from the Yu family. Ling Xiao went straight to the point. He didn't want to say unnecessary nonsense now. Although he knew that Ancestor Qihua and Sword Maiden Qinglian wouldn't die, he was still a little worried. In addition, he was worried about Ling Jiaojiao. He wasn't in the mood to talk nonsense with others. You really came for her. Qi Yaoguang sighed and said, Alas, I knew that people like you wouldn't listen to advice. Don't worry, we have a common enemy. Chapter 4108. Dong! Qi Niming suddenly fell to the ground and fainted. Qi Yaoguang was shocked. Don't panic. Let me take a look. Ling Xiao grabbed Qi Niming's wrist and checked carefully. He frowned. This is a bit troublesome. Your brother was hit by a very vicious palm technique. If it was within a day, it would be easy to solve. But now, he has been delayed for a few days and is beyond cure. Even the Daluo Immortal wouldn't be able to save him. Then what should we do? Qi Yaoguang was anxious. Brother can't die. He was injured because of me. Otherwise, with his strength, even if he can't take revenge, he can escape. Ling Xiao, just say it. No matter what you want me to do, I will do it. As long as you can save my brother, I can give up everything, including my body. Ling Xiao was stunned. He looked at Qi Yaoguang's figure. She was indeed the best in the world. Unfortunately, he only had the Moon Maiden in his heart. There was no room for another woman. Also, it wasn't like he had never seen a woman before. He wouldn't be so thirsty. You don't have to be so worried. I just said that even the gods can't save him. But I didn't say that I can't. Ling Xiao smiled and said, I've already checked just now. Your brother's condition is very bad, but it's not a problem for me. Qi Niming's injury couldn't be cured, but it could be sucked out. Don't forget what Ling Xiao did. In the next moment, he released the bloodthirsty plague. The bloodthirsty plague could absorb the true essence and blood of the enemy. But on the other hand, it could also absorb the negative true essence in the martial artist's body and purify it. Just like a sharp sword that could be used to kill people, it could also be used to save people. After a full hour, Ling Xiao withdrew the bloodthirsty plague. Qi Niming's obviously black face had returned to normal. He was just a little weak. Why am I not dead? Qi Niming opened his eyes and looked at the two people in front of him in shock. With me here, you won't die. Ling Xiao smiled and said, but your body is still very weak right now. You need to find a safe place to heal. Let's not talk too much. Enter my Dongsheng Emperor Ring. It's safe and you won't be disturbed. Qi Niming couldn't believe his ears. Are you saying that the evil energy of the demonic blood palm has been expelled from my body? Qi Niming hurriedly used his true essence to check. A few minutes later, he was overjoyed. That's great, that's great. Brother Ling, I, Qi Niming, will never forget your kindness. In this life, I'll do anything for you. Qi Niming knelt down again. Hurry up and get up. There's no need to work like an ox or a horse. I've already told you why I'm here. I'll have to trouble you to help me think of a way to save my sister. Ling Xiao sighed. Qi Niming was helped up by Qi Yaoguang. After thinking for a bit, he said, the Yu family is very powerful. Even with your two subordinates, they probably won't be able to save your younger sister. So, you have to at least reach the Demon King level. Isn't that nonsense? If I had Demon King level strength, I would have gone to save her long ago. Why would I need to worry here? Ling Xiao was instantly speechless. Brother Ling, don't worry. I'm saying this because I do have a way. Qi Niming smiled and said, there's something called the demonic Sirius flower in this sky demon cocoon. It's a very strange treasure. After eating it, you can increase your strength to the Demon King level for half an hour. And there are no side effects. It's just that it's very rare. Rumor has it that it's a treasure left behind by the Demon Emperor so that martial artists in the Sky Demon Cocoon can have a chance to comprehend it. They can experience the feeling of divine body echelon cultivation. It'll be even easier to break through in the future. There's actually such a good treasure. Tell me, how do we get it? Ling Xiao knew that since Qi Niming said so, he definitely had a way. The demonic Sirius flower is born in different places. Normally, one flower will appear every year, and it's produced in the 9 great demon nations. This year, it's our Fengdu Devil Nation's turn. In the extreme north of the Fengdu Devil Nation, there's a forest called the Fengdu Devil Forest. The environment there is complicated, and it's very dangerous. It can be said to be the scariest place in the entire Fengdu Devil Nation. The weather is also very bad. Normally, those who haven't reached the heavenly core realm wouldn't dare to go to that place. This time, the demonic Sirius flower will be born there. Calculating the time, there's only about 10 days left. This is also the reason why the Yu family is attacking our Qi family. Because the Yu family wants to get this demonic Sirius flower and give it to your sister. This way, your sister can reach the shattered core realm as soon as possible and then break through to the divine body echelon. Qi Niming explained. All right, then I'll go and fight for this demonic Sirius flower. You can stay in the Dongsheng Emperor Ring and show me the way. In order to save Ling Jiaojiao safely, Ling Xiao had to make ample preparations. Otherwise, if he was careless, it'd be very easy for him to get into trouble. Don't be in such a hurry. There are some things that I have to explain to you, or else it'll be useless. Qi Niming lightly shook his head and said, the demonic Sirius flower was left behind by the Demon Emperor for the demonic cultivators in the heavenly demon ghost region. Other than demonic cultivators, no one can fight for it. There should be a special barrier around that place. Unless you're a demonic cultivator, no one can enter. Also, normally, no matter which devil nation the demonic Sirius flower appears in, only the warriors from that nation have the right to fight for it. With you and Qi Yaoguang, this won't be a problem. Ling Xiao said. The problem is the Yu family will definitely send some strong warriors there, right? Don't worry about that. Even if they do send some strong warriors, they can only stay in the outer area. Because of the fight for the demonic Sirius flower. Only warriors under the age of 50 have the right to come within 10 miles of that place. Among all the warriors under the age of 50, I've never heard of anyone who has reached the divine body echelon. The strongest ones are your sister Ling Jiao and me. When Qi Niming said this, he felt a little proud. Ling Jiao's body was taken over by someone else, but he had cultivated to his current level. It's quite difficult. Ling Xiao knew very well that there were no divine body echelon warriors under the age of 50. As for the warriors at the extreme core realm, they were Qi Niming and Ling Jiao, but there should be a lot of heavenly core warriors. Qi Yaoguang was one of them. When he fought against a heavenly core warrior, he had to risk his life every single time. It was quite difficult. Qi Niming laughed and said, "Don't worry, not everyone is as heaven-defying as me and my sister. My sister is a top genius in the Fengdu Devil Nation. I can guarantee that among all the geniuses under the age of 50 in the Fengdu Devil Nation, there are no more than 5 who have reached the heavenly core realm. And that includes my sister." Chapter 4109. I'm guessing that when you go to the Fengdu Devil Forest, most of the people you'll face will be Earth Core Warriors. There will also be a small number of Mortal Core Warriors. Qi Niming reassured Ling Xiao. "All right, I can give it a try." Ling Xiao laughed. Of course, even so, the Fengdu Devil Forest is still the scariest place in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. There are at least a few 100,000 geniuses fighting for the demonic Dutchman's flower. I have to tell you about the difficulties. I don't want to waste time. Qi Niming poured cold water on Ling Xiao again. But this time, Ling Xiao wasn't worried at all. So what if there were a few 100,000 geniuses? He was only worried about powerful warriors, since there wouldn't be more than 5 heavenly core warriors, and one of them was Qi Yaoguang. Then what was there to be afraid of? As for the dangerous environment, it wasn't a problem for him. What kind of dangerous environment hadn't he seen before? This Fengdu Devil Forest was nothing. All right, Qi Niming, you go and rest first. I definitely have to go to the Fengdu Devil Forest. Getting the demonic Dutchman's flower is too important for me. Even if it's just half an hour of Devil King strength, it will be of great help. This was definitely an opportunity. If Ling Xiao missed it, he might not have the same opportunity in the future. Besides, there were only 10 days left before the demonic Dutchman's flower bloomed. It wouldn't delay him from returning to the 3,000 saint cities to participate in the ranking tournament. This trip wouldn't be in vain. It would increase the hope of saving Ling Jiao. Of course, he had to go. No more nonsense, let's go. Although Ling Xiao really wanted Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Azure Lotus Swordswoman to go with him, but the actual age of those two was over 50 years old. They wouldn't be able to get close to the demonic Dutchman's flower. More importantly, time was of the essence. It would take a few days to reach the Fengdu Devil Forest from here. Along the way, he didn't know if he would run into the Yu family's pursuers. Everything was troublesome. As for the safety of Ancestor Scarlet Flame and Azure Lotus Swordswoman, he wasn't worried. If something happened to those two, he wouldn't be of any help even if he stayed. He might as well get the demonic epiphyllum as soon as possible. Perhaps it would be of some help. Yao Guang, you should also enter the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome if the Yu family sees us. Ling Xiao didn't want to waste any time on the road. He didn't want to run into the experts of the Yu family either. Without Ancestor Crimson Flame and Green Lotus Swordswoman by his side, once he encountered those powerhouses, only death would await him. Don't even think about turning over. All right, I got it. Qi Yaoguang was very obedient and smart. After understanding Ling Xiao's good intentions, he naturally chose to enter the Dongsheng Emperor Ring to hide. Then, according to Qi Niming's guidance, Ling Xiao headed towards the direction of Fengdu Devil Forest. Along the way, they encountered the Yu family's cultivators several times, but they were all safe. Nothing unexpected happened until 3 days later, near the Fengdu Devil Forest. Ling Xiao was in trouble. There were more and more Yu family cultivators here. There were also cultivators from the Yang family and the other 3 sections. There were even some warriors from other families and forces. Stop! For men blocked Ling Xiao's path. 2 men and 2 women. They weren't old, only in their 20s. 3 of them were peak 6th divine core warriors. Only one of them was a female cultivator, and she was a late 7th divine core warrior. What gave Jiang Qin a headache was that this female cultivator seemed to possess some kind of ice skill. Her strange eyes were glowing with a faint red light. These men weren't strong. But the problem was that there were many Yu family cultivators around them. If Jiang Qin didn't want to be discovered, he would have to kill all 4 of them in an instant. But the female cultivator with the ice skill wasn't easy to deal with. It would be difficult to kill her with a single strike. Get a few more men. Surround this guy. Not only was the female cultivator with the ice skill the strongest, she was also very smart. It seemed like she had sensed Ling Xiao's strength. Therefore, she called another group of men over. The number of men increased from 4 to 40. The weakest among them was an early 6th divine core warrior. Guys, we don't have any grudges against each other. Why are you surrounding me? While Ling Xiao was talking, he secretly unleashed his martial soul barrier. It was a good item that could isolate auras. It could also prevent these men from escaping. Although he didn't know why these men were stopping him, but he was sure that they didn't have good intentions. It was necessary to be prepared in advance. Don't have any grudges against each other? Do you really think you can hide from my eyes? The female cultivator with the ice skill sneered. I can sense Qi Yaoguang and Qi Niming's auras from you. Tell me, where are they? What a powerful ice skill. Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. He had never encountered a situation like this before, and it was a bit tricky. Maybe I have, but I don't know any Qi Niming or Qi Yaoguang. I'm just a warrior here to participate in the competition for the Heavenly Devil Epiphyllum. Ling Xiao said calmly. They could sense the auras of the 2 men from his body, but they couldn't see the 2 men. This meant that there was a limit to the ice skill, or they were too weak and couldn't unleash the true power of the ice skill. No matter what, he should be able to get away with it. Sister Ting, why waste your breath on him? This kind of person doesn't know how powerful he is until we teach him a lesson. Capture him first and torture him. Then we won't be afraid that he won't talk. The other girl was quite pretty, but her personality was really vicious. Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. It seemed that he couldn't get away with it. Forget it. Since someone wanted to die, then he would start a massacre. Once he attacked, none of the 40 people could be left alive. Otherwise, if the fish that escaped the net informed the experts of the Yu family, he would be finished. Ling Xiao, let me out. I'll kill them. Qi Yaoguang shouted in the Dong Sheng Emperor Ring. You'd better shut your mouth. If you come out, your aura will leak, and it will alarm more experts. I'm different. Before confirming that I know you, these fools won't easily contact experts. Ling Xiao said mentally, don't worry. These rookies can't hurt me. But Qi Yaoguang was still worried. There were 40 of them. How could Ling Xiao stop them all by himself? No, but just watch. If Ling Xiao didn't want to let someone out of the Dong Sheng Emperor Ring, that person wouldn't be able to come out. Unless he was strong enough to destroy the Dong Sheng Emperor Ring. Obviously, Qi Yaoguang couldn't do that. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and exhaled. Actually, I didn't want to kill you, but since you're blocking my way, I'm sorry. Today, all of you will die here. Hearing this, the warriors of the Yu family were startled. Then, they let out an exaggerated laugh. Are you kidding me? You, a 6th rank divine core warrior? You want to kill all 40 of us? Are you sure you're not acting tough? A young girl was laughing so hard as if she was sick. Ling Xiao didn't say anything.